All right, what's poppin', people? Welcome back to Tub Takes. This is a VGC video podcast where we talk about what's been making waves in the VGC scene. Today, I am joined by my co-host Adi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tom Takes.
This time we don't have like a lot of topics. Like the season hasn't really swung into it just hasn't really started yet. We don't even know the dates for the September Grand Challenge, and it is September now, as the time we're recording this and uploading this, of course. If you're watching on YouTube, but anyways, we're gonna be doing a Reg H tier list today.
Where is everyone?
What do you mean?
Isn't the room kind of empty?
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. No, we didn't add any guests. If that's what you mean. Yeah, we don't have any guests today because Adi and I were talking about it, and he was concerned if we had guests that we would never be able to rank all these Pokemon because there are a lot. It's a very wide format.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to curate a list, and I think I narrowed it down to 120 Pokemon that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, it might go for a while.
Yeah, and that might not even include some of the ones we find in this tier list because yeah, we're just gonna be looking at the mons as they appear in this tier list on Tier List Maker or whatever tier maker. But yeah, quick last intro stuff is that yeah, if you're here now but you can't stick around for the whole stream, check it out on YouTube tomorrow. We already did !YT in the chat, but yeah. And other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to mention them. We're happy to talk about anything. We can derail a little bit to just talk about some other stuff, but we're mostly going to be focusing on tiering these Pokemon, putting them where they are, and spending various degrees amounts of talking about them. Like, we're not going to spend 8 minutes talking about why Rillaboom is really good, but we'll still talk about like why it's good, just for like the bare minimum. 1 second, Adi. I'm just gonna fix my lights. I forgot to do that real quick, but I'll be right back.
Okay. So I guess we can just get started because Nerd now says cross-reference with Smogon usage stats. I have the Smogon usage stats pulled up. So definitely I will be talking about how often they're used. And then comparing it to how often I think it should be used. I guess it's just part of the context. Yeah, I think that I guess we just get started because otherwise we are actually just not going to get done.
Let's do it.
And we can't start with the Rillaboom because Rillaboom is already an S tier. And I don't know about you, but I think it is in fact the S tier Pokemon of the format. Probably the single like best support Pokemon in the format, and most splashable support Pokemon in the format.
Right, I agree. I think that it is super anti-anything. It was the best way I was thinking about Rillaboom before the stream, because I put it in as for the joke thumbnail, and I was like, that's where I want it though. And like, yeah, it is just super easy to slap on any type of team. It can be on the aggressive teams, just going for very strong wood hammers. It can also be on your standard balance comps. It's just very good at doing anything that the team needs. So this isn't like anything brand new, but yeah, it is like just like it shuts down bullshit, as George Champ said here in the chat. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I don't have much else to say about it besides like it's super splashable.
Okay, I do have a question. Do we want to have A+, A-, B+, B-, or do we just want these?
We can do that. We can definitely do that.
Okay.
S doesn't have pluses and minuses, right?
It does not. No.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely add some, and I'll probably do it as we go, I guess. I can just start doing it, but
yeah.
Why don't you start us off on actually we'll just both do Electabuzz here real quick. We'll finish these three guys, then I'll start making that happen as we add in the other ones.
All right.
So Electabuzz was put in here. I don't think it's like S. I just want to talk about these three guys and then we'll just go in order, but Electabuzz is honestly very solid at this format. I would be happy to put it in A, not like A+ or anything like that. Or, you could talk me down to A- or whatever, but I think it's an A tier Pokemon.
I think it's A. I think that in as far as like follow me users, other than Indeedee, I think it's the best one. It just has it's so bulky. It's so bulky. It's got an incredible speed tier for this format. And I think it just has a great move toolkit. It has, I'm just looking at the list of moves it runs, and there are Follow Me, Taunt, Protect, Volt Switch, Electroweb's Helping Hand, Thunderbolt, Feint, Eerie Impulse are all above 12% usage on this mon.
Because they're
That
all
is
goated.
9 different moves.
They're all
Yeah,
gas.
they're all really good. Like, whatever your team needs, this guy can do, basically. It's
Yeah.
really strong.
Yeah, that speed tier with Electrowebs is something that's, I think, a bit underexplored. You know, it's got 105 speed, and yeah, you know, we're talking about it in the chat now. The special attack stat's not like disappointing either. It's 95. So this is just like a Pokemon that's very good at supporting the team while also not being dead weight. And I love that about Electabuzz. Definitely, you know, high on our own supply here as like some of Electabuzz's like biggest fans. But I don't know. I also think that people have already been using it in a lot of other contexts than we used back in Regulation G. And I think people will find that, again, this Pokemon also fits on a variety of teams.
Trust me. We're going to talk about some of our favorites, and they're not going to be pretty. This is the one that's actually pretty good.
Let's go ahead and talk about Incineroar next. So, Incin, I do have where I want it. I want it in B, and I don't know if that's like a bold B for bold statement or not. But this Pokemon has not felt it has not felt splashable. Like, you know, people think that you can just put it on a team, you know, like Incin 4 or Incin whatever. Like, you know, people are just like, I'm always adding Incin eventually. I don't want it. I want like a fire type that does more fire type things. I want a dark type that does better dark type things. There are other intimidate Pokemon like Tauros that, you know, play a bit more of a active offensive role. I don't know. I just haven't really liked it.
I disagree. I think it is A plus. I don't think it's S tier. I think that usage wise, it is currently S tier, right? It's third in usage. But no, I think that right now the metagame is a little hostile to it. There's a lot of Mouse Ape. There's a lot of Rain. Incineroar does not do great into those. But I think that normally we see the metagame slow down. People kind of figure out how to slow the game down, basically, and take a little more control. And I think that is usually when Incineroar shines. And so I would not be comfortable putting it in B. If you want to put it in straight up A, I can respect that. I think it's A plus personally.
Okay. Let's meet in the middle and we'll put it into A for now. And you know, we can always just kind of move guys around a little bit as we go. I also hate the colors. I gotta fix the colors as we go, but I'll keep doing that. The next Pokemon, while I mess with that, Adi, is going to be Venusaur. I went through and started off the list, by the way, a bit. I got to like Gen 3 before I was just like, wow, this is a lot. Venusaur didn't get cut. I don't know if it should have, and if anything I didn't cut should be cut, Adi, feel free to just mention it as a D tier Pokemon, and we can just kind of move on with our days. But let's talk about Venusaur.
Yeah, I have not thought about Venusaur very much. I think it's outclassed by Lilligant. I don't know why you would run it.
Yeah, that's actually my exact thought as well when I looked at it as the like first Pokemon we'll be talking about outside of the first three guys. Is like, I don't really know what it's doing better than Lilligant. And then in terms of like offensive poison type, I also think it's worse than Glamora. You know, Glamora is a very good like Sludge Bomb using Pokemon with, you know, Power Gem and Earth Power. They both have that, but yeah, I don't know. Meat Beam is a, you know, big difference maker there. You know, you could be clicking Sleep Powder, but I think Lilligant's speed tier is kind of the difference maker there. And fighting types are a little bit harder to come by, whereas, I don't know, Venusaur just doesn't feel super uniquely strong.
I think it has one niche, and that it is maybe the best Grass Pledge user. If you really want to commit to that, but I don't think that's very strong.
Yeah, like just using Grass Pledge for the sake of using Grass Pledge. Like, obviously you'd set it up with the other ones, but like currently people are using like Meowscarada for Grass Pledge, and Meowscarada is not like an amazing special attacker or anything, so it's always going to want to use it combined, but Venusaur could definitely use it separate for sure. If Torkoal got one of the pledges, that would be fun. That would be fun. Oh yeah, and also Adi, if you get a look at any of the unranked or the unranked mons that I skipped past, and you're like, wait a minute, we ought to put that guy in C tier, then let me know. All
right.
Charizard, I think, could also go down in D. I think that it is simply outclassed by Typhlosion, but like the thing is like your trade-offs are flying type, which lets you switch in on ground moves. There's like only a few of those versus Typhlosion being a ghost type. They're both like fire type nuke Pokemon, and so That's kind of how I see their roles, I guess.
I think I think it's a D. I think it maybe justify C minus. I think it probably is better than a lot of the D tier Pokemon, but that we're going to be putting in D. But like the only thing that I can justify using it for is
It could be
that it
C.
does have flying coverage, and that is not all that common. That is like I think the reason to run it. And even then, like you're either clicking Air Slash or you're clicking Hurricane, and then I don't know, like I I can't really justify using it. Its move pool is kind of bad.
Yeah. I've seen it being used by some people, so I'm happy to like leave it in C and just say that that's where it's gonna be. I don't think the format is like very diverse, and so I think I'm okay with there being like a B and a C minus, or sorry, an A and a B minus and plus. But then for
Mhm.
C and D, we can kind of just leave those simply as that because yeah,
Sure.
there's we don't need to talk about how bad the Pokemon are. There's either like D, which is unusable while we talked about it, or C, like you can try. You can try. Now Blastoise has Shell Smash. And there's there's a lot of water types. There's always a lot of water types. It is just like factually, I think the most common type in Pokemon's like Pokedex. Um, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, I don't know.
Okay.
Normal and flying
So
could beat it out, but I think it's water.
Blastoise is definitely the best water type that can get a +2/+2 boost for sure, no doubt.
Oh, that's true.
There's no...
Yeah, you can Shell Smash or you can switch in Tatsugiri. um, I don't know if yeah, I think Blastoise could definitely be in D tier.
Yep.
By the way, I
Yep.
don't really care to sort the tiers too much. Maybe the higher ones, low ones definitely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's probably worse than a lot of the good water types that we'll talk about: Prim, Dondozo, Basket Legion, Palafin, whatever. Pikachu.
We'll get to some hot takes about water types. Don't worry, I got some.
Yeah, true.
Go ahead.
Pikachu. Do you have anything to say about this mod, or should it just be in D? Okay, what is Pikachu's
This is right
speed
too.
stat? What is Pikachu's speed stat?
Is it 95?
If it's 95, that's like not bad.
Yeah, but just use Raichu.
But this one hits harder. Raichu is faster though. Yeah. The max use did not work this hard for Pikachu and D. Um,
Now, now Raichu is a Pokemon that not only could I see in C, I could even maybe just I think I could be C B minus. Like I think that Pokemon is probably usable. Like I'm surprised people haven't been experimenting with it more.
so what do you like about it more than Palmod? Lightning Rod simply for the Electroshock redirection?
Yeah, I think Lightning Rod is really good. It just supports a lot of the water types that want to be sitting in front of rain user. Like if you can protect your water type from the Arcaludon, I think you're really in a good spot against rain a lot of the time. And then yeah, I think it. I guess I don't know if Arcaludon. Sorry, if Palmot has Nuzzle,
It
has
does.
Encore. It does. Okay. Faint, I guess, is the other cool thing. But yeah, it probably is just worse than Palmot in most situations.
Yeah, I think I'd leave it in C. And then moving on, the other Raichu I think can go down in D. I don't think that it's doing anything too significant. Is it? It doesn't have Lightning Rod. And you're not using that ability at all.
I think it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That
Here
one
we
be
go.
unranked too.
Right away. Now we're getting to some good ones. Adi, let's have you talk about Clefairy.
Ooh. Okay. Let me tell you why Clefairy is bad. I love Clefairy,
B
but
for bad.
Clefairy is it's like B minus. Clefairy, I think it's like really bad. I think people don't understand why would you use Clefairy over Clefable? And the reason to use Clefairy over Clefable is Friend Guard. What is good about Friend Guard? Well, it means that you take less damage with a partner. But people are not using a ton of like super strong spread moves. And the spread moves that people are clicking, Clefairy doesn't take very well. And so like I don't think that Friend Guard is all that useful for it. If you want to use a Friend Guard mon, I think Vivillon has Friend Guard too, which might be a little better because it's a little more active. Yeah, just use Clefable. I think Clefable is just better. I don't know why I'd use Clefairy.
Yeah. I kind of feel that way right now. Largely due to the fact that yeah, you just take a lot from these spread moves that are currently coming out. Eruptions, expanding forces, make it rains. And also there aren't as many like there are some good Pokemon in the format, but nothing like a carry, like a restricted, nothing like a Calyrex that you can stick next to your Friend Guard Pokemon and say that this is going to win the game on its own. You can stick a Clefairy next to a Golden Go, but I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit easier to deal with than a Calyrex, in my opinion. Um,
Yep.
Clef, though.
And even then, like, again, Clefable is really good. And again, you said Goldengo. I'd rather stick a Clefable next to Goldengo because guess what Goldie's really scared of? Every single dark type. And you know what Clefable deals with? Not entirely, but like it does have Moonblast. It does help deal with some of the problems for these Pokemon. Or if you Terra Steel and you don't want to deal with fighting types, guess what? Clefable's pretty good, right? So I think that I think Clefable A+ is right. Exactly. Yeah, it's probably the one of the better redirectors in the format, and Unaware is so good against stuff like Dondozo. So yeah, definitely a very strong Pokemon.
And it's like a good, I don't know, just while we're talking about it, I think it's a like fun change of pace that we get to see like Clefable be so good in this current format. There's a lot of like setup Pokemon that, they're I mean on the teams with Clefable, but these setup Pokemon just kind of look at Clefable and say like, yeah, what are you doing with those boosts? On the flip side, you do gotta be careful. I was playing with like there's a Water Tauros team with Clefable going around, and it will ignore your Intimidate, so do watch out for that. They will still hit you for full damage. But yeah, Unaware being a very good ability, and it's got a very strong move pool. You're typically going to see Moonblast, Follow Me, and Protect. After that, there's a lot of things it can do. It has coverage moves like Flamethrower or whatever, and it has Icy Wind, I believe, because I know Clefairy gets it. It has Thunder Wave, it has Heal Pulse, Life Dew. All the things that Clefairy gets, Clefable can do, but it also has a special attack stat, so that's pretty cool. Regular Ninetales. Not so like just the sun setting Ninetales.
I don't know. Maybe B.
I think I'd be comfortable putting it next to Clefairy or above it. Like the thing is that it is a fast sunsetter. So like if you're playing against rain, that's a little annoying because they can just, lead their slower weather and, you're going to have to hold that. But on the other side, we've been talking about the, like, speed tiers being a very important thing in this format, and 100 is a good speed tier again. You're outspeeding a lot of these fast, frail offensive Pokemon, like Glamora, like Golden Go, and Archaludon, too, if they're running the Turbo one. So, I don't know. It also gets Nasty Plot. I have seen, like, Nasty Plot Heatwave. It might just be outclassed by other fire types, but it's like a nice option if you don't want to rely on Torkoal for Sun. It's just that, we don't have like all those photosynthesis mons, so I don't know if speccing into Sun is really worth your time.
I got nothing to add. This one, I don't think this one's very good.
Yeah. Well, what about the other one?
Alola, I think, is potentially good, but the metagame is also not. It is kind of hostile to it, but like setting up both three into the same time is a really strong ability, and enabling Pokemon like Baxcalibur we saw was really strong in one of the regulations. I forget which one. We definitely saw some Ninetales packs for a while. And so yeah, I think this mon is probably not well positioned right now, but it is strong enough that I think it's going to see some play. I think it's going to cut some regionals.
I think Aurora Veil is really, really cool. And again, good speed tier. It has a lot of good support moves too, Encore, Disable type things that it can use. So I think that this Pokemon can fit in once it figures out what the rest of the team needs to do to deal with like opposing weather. Like there are a lot of weather wars, and Ninetales, one of the like worst Pokemon when its weather is not up. It is very actively bad. It doesn't get to do any of the fun stuff it likes, besides Icy Wind, I guess. So I'd say B+ in that, like, I could see it, yeah, like, having potential later, but, we're gonna have to let people figure that one out. Regular Arcanine, the regular guy, the not rock one.
You can start talking about this one. I have no idea.
The thing is I don't think it does anything better than Incineroar or its rock type counterpart. So I feel like it's just simply outclassed. The plus sides are it doesn't have the weaknesses that, Rock Arcanine has. But the minuses are that it doesn't have, like, an extra offensive type. There are some resists that come with it. Yeah, I don't know. Speed tier is good. I'd put it in B- because it's, like, probably more usable than Charizard and Raichu, but, anyways.
I kind of like the B minus being the, hey, this one's like okay, but there are better Pokemon you can be using that almost do the exact same thing, and that's exactly what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hisui and Arcanine is better, and Incineroar is better, and usually you're going to want to fit one of those two on your team instead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about the good one then, the Rock Dog. So I've currently just put it in A minus. I think it is good. I think the Tailwind teams will really enjoy it, and speed tier very good. You know, right now 95 is nice. You have to run it Jolly, of course, to hit that, but the choice band set that we saw through Reg E, yeah, E, I think, can shine again. I think if the partners will be a little bit different. You can still use Rillaboom, but it doesn't have like Torn Ursh or whatever. But regardless, I think it's a good fit on offense teams. And it probably has some unexplored potential on some of the defensive teams too. You know, like ESM one with that Howl Wisp one in Sacramento. And I think some stuff like that can be accomplished with this Pokemon in this format. There's no like I mean, if it could survive in a format with Urshifu, I feel like it can survive in a format without it.
Yeah, definitely. I think A minus even maybe justify A. I think it's going to get better as the format develops because people are going to stop leading Annihilate all the time. Just again, rain is going to reduce in usage, and even it's not even that bad into rain. It's not good into rain, but like it does pressure the Pelipper at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and can intimidate the Basculin Legion if you Terra. But I think a lot of the mons that are just under the surface of the format are actually quite weak to it. And that raw coverage is going to be so good into teams that try to spam He's Sweet type Lotion. It's really, really good into stuff like that. I guess a lot of the dragon types, it's really good. And just it does a lot of damage. E-Speed's a really good move. Like I think it's got a very strong toolkit. Volcarona is another Pokemon. I think as the format develops, we're going to see more and more teams develop around that, and then Hisui and Arcanine all of a sudden becomes the like premier counter to that. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I think that there's a lot of reasons for it that it will get better. Yeah, I like A minus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A for Arcanine. Slow Bro, the regular one, the water one. The other one's not water. Yes. Okay. Um, it is a Trick Room setter, and it has like Oblivious, which makes it immune to taunt. But other than that, like I think it could be an okay pick on some of the Psy Spam type teams, just as an option. But is it better than Hatterene? Is it better than a lot of other things? I don't really think so. It resists spread moves like Eruption and Make It Rain, and so that's what, and Expanding Force. So like it gets some points there for me. But that's really about all I have to say for it. It's a bit passive too. It can use Expanding Force, I guess. But after that, it doesn't have like Scald anymore. Right? Yeah, no, nothing has Scald anymore, right? That move's still
It
gone.
does. It gets Scald. It
Oh,
gets Scald.
It gets Scald. Okay, wait, did they bring back Scald? My brain is melting right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, they brought it back.
Okay,
My
okay.
Logic has it too. There's a couple other mons that get it.
Got it. Yeah, you can surf with Gastrodon. That is fun. I feel like it's better than some of the other things in D, but it's probably just sits in C tier. It's not like the best Trick Room setters, and if you want to be setting Trick Room, you got to be getting it done fast, and I just don't know if it gets it done fast enough.
People will do anything for a water type. I mean, people are really digging out, but no, I think the Trick Room does not actually have a problem with setting up Trick Room. I think that has a problem winning the game, and I don't think that Slowbro actually helps you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have good ways around Taunt already with Hatterene or just simply Follow Me. All right. The Poison type one. I don't really have much different to say about this one. This one's honestly a bit of a mystery to me, and like the
Quick
quick,
claw. That's a set. That's
yeah,
the only thing it does.
the quick draw one. I definitely had my fun with that in like 1v1 in Gen 8. Other than that, I don't really. It's funny. It's definitely funny. Yeah, I think this one actually goes down in D. I can't because it doesn't have the solid water type aspect that the other one does. Alolan Muck. So I feel like there's only one context to talk about in this Pokemon anymore these days, and that's just the stupid Smeargle Muck teams. And I feel like those are kind of like flipping burgers right now because Blood Moon is everywhere and it ignores evasion. So that's just like a tough like non-starter.
Also, like, yeah, in a format with Dindozo, people are running Perish Song and Haze. Like, what are you doing? You can't survive with that.
Oh,
Trying to
true.
minimize the format.
Haze is brutal for this mon. Yeah, this just goes down in D. Gengar is like really popping off right now. Where do you think this mon lands? I feel like it could just be A.
Okay, I was thinking A minus, but I can see A. I think that's a hot take, but you know what? Its speed tier is really, really good. It has a lot of the support moves that you want in this format, be it either Haze or Perish Song for Dondozo. You have Will-O-Wisp to deal with physical attackers. You have Icy Wind and it's really, really fast. You have
I think
Taunt.
Encore and Disable.
You have Encore and Disable. Like, yeah, it really does have a really, really nice toolkit. And then Sludge Bomb is actually like pretty good coverage right now, and Sludge Bomb Shadow Ball is still excellent coverage. So yeah, I think that I think as a like the thing is, I think there's a lot of really fast rail support Pokemon, and it has some competition in that slot, right? We're going to talk about a whole number of Pokemon that can use your Focus Sash and do all sorts of different things. And it really depends on what you need them to do. But Gengar definitely checks all of the boxes, and being fake out immune and having a pretty unique toolkit makes it so it can fit on a lot of different teams, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that typing is just super handy. And yeah, just a natural fast ghost type, good counterplay to fake out. I don't know, really cool Pokemon. And I'm happy to see it shining again. It feels kind of like a much more fair Landorus Incarnate from the previous formats. You know, just fast, can hit hard, has like pretty solid coverage. But yeah, it's not OHKOing things like Landorus, so trade-offs for sure. Um, I did leave it in here, the funny wooden electrode guy. It's like the fastest thing. That is like it's niche. It is literally the fastest thing.
Yes, if your mousehole isn't beating you up fast enough, you can bullet with this guy.
No, I do. So that is exactly where my head went too. Is like you can use Scarf Annihilate with loaded dice Electrode. Just be wary of that in this upcoming Grand Challenge when that starts or whatever. If you see Electrode, know that there's definitely shenanigans. Like this mod is never trying to do anything honest, and I think it'll never shine in OTS. But in CTS, it can do some pretty stupid stuff.
It can do exactly one stupid thing.
One stupid thing.
I don't know if this is the bullet seed thing. What else does it do?
Yeah, you're right. I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing. It does do just one. All right. So the wheezing forms, I feel like you can probably end up grouping them. It often ends up being a preference of like defensive typing or offensive coverage between them. And back in previous formats, it was kind of like I feel like Reg F had a pretty good comparison to Reg E or whatever. Like you could resist Wicked Blow from Urshifu, but you'd be weak to Make It Rain from Goldengo. Now I guess you can resist Kowtow from King Gambit. You know, there's still like some strong dark type moves coming out, but again, being weak to Make It Rain, a little bit scary. So regardless though, getting rid of abilities, doing stuff with that, is it worth it or not? I guess I should be the one like talking a bit more about this one because I've used it a lot, but I don't think it's that worth it. I almost want to say that it's probably I would say like a Lowland Ninetales tier. I'm not. It could be in the fire one, just regular B. Wait, this is B plus. Okay, no, it's regular B. It's regular B. Yeah, I don't know. I think that like I definitely think that the slacking stuff is not worth it at all. If people haven't looked at the moves that slacking are using on it, like this is all that set up to like click body slam, whatever, man. But yeah, still a good amount of support moves, and you know, there's a lot of activate on switch it abilities that will get pretty disrupted from the Weezings. So, you know, like good against weather and terrain teams, but it also has to have a very good partner next to it to make that work.
That's the main thing, is that I just don't know if there's anything crazy enough that you can put next to it to enable it. But if someone figures it out, I do think that like a lot of the top Pokemon do get kind of messed up. Like Rillaboom doesn't really like that sitting on field. Instant doesn't really do his job. It does some of his job. Like the rain stuff doesn't really enjoy it, and if you can't set rain up, you know, you can. I'm looking at like Primarina can't really use Hyper Voice, right? Like there's a few different things that really get disrupted that are pretty good. But I just don't know what you put next to it that really makes it really pop, you know?
Oh, double edge on the slacking? Sure. I don't know. Like I feel like you can do a lot stronger things. Like there are Pokemon out there that get abilities instead of you know jumping through all these hoops to make a Pokemon not have an ability. Anyways, this is a good one. Magmar. So I do think Magmar a bit worse than Electabuzz. Mainly due to the fact that like I usually want other fire types on my team. And Like Volcarona's a very good one. And it's not as important of a role to find, or like I don't know, there's not as much competition. Like Electabuzz, we didn't actually talk about it a lot, but there's not a lot of electric types that are very strong. You know, we lost some of the best ones that we had been relying on for the previous couple of formats in Raging Bolt and Iron Hands. And now Electabuzz can kind of like, you know, use that to its advantage. But Magmar, I don't know. It's definitely got some solid things. It also has a worse speed tier, so it has to invest a bit more in its speed, and I think its stat distribution is slightly worse overall. It's like got like an attack stat, which it won't really use. But I think it's a solid Pokemon nonetheless. So, what do you think?
I I just yeah, I agree. I think that it just faces a lot of competition for that fire type slot, whereas Electabuzz, like you said, is currently the highest usage electric type, or not a ton of electric types in the format, other than Arcaludon sort of. But like yeah, I think that the speed also makes a big difference. Like you said, like 95 to 105 is a big deal. There's a lot of Pokemon in that range right now. Um, yeah, you have in B plus. I could even see B. I either way, yeah, it's in that
Mm-hmm.
range.
I think Bulky Follow Me is really cool. And it's like really decent into like mouse ape. You can get some burns on them if they do try to like go for a beat up or an attack or something like that, and then that's really gonna ruin their day. But then you don't have the Vital Spirit. I don't know. It's so tough.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, but that also every other redirection stops them from clicking beat up, right?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah, yeah. There are just like also better redirections. You know, whether it's Electabuzz Clefable or like a Moongus when we get there eventually. Even I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna put Vivillon, but that one seems good. Let's talk about the Tauroses. I think you
hmm.
probably end up tiering these guys separately because fire feels a little bit worse than water. But they're
Yep.
like close-ish. Let's talk about water, the better one first. Do you want to say it's like A, or do you think it's better than that?
Um. Oh, you say it's A plus? No, I honestly I was gonna put it A minus. But I think A is also reasonable. It is a really good water fighting is really really good coverage, and here's why.
Welcome back,
It
Urshifu.
is. I mean, yeah, who'd have thought? But like, if you look at this format, right? There are not like the water types are kind of mid, which really helps it, right? Primarina is the best one, and Primarina is like more of a fairy type than a water type. I think Nick is what Nick told me yesterday. And the other resists are okay. So sure, you got the grass types. The grass types are pretty annoying, but you do get to intimidate the Rillabooms, and then you've got the dragon types. And the two best dragon types are Arcaludon and Hydreigon, and they both are weak to fighting, which means that you're immediately taking out one of their water resists if you're trying to use it. On top of that, Intimidate is really good. You see all the different Intimidate users really reasonably high in usage, and so yeah, I just think that water fighting coverage right now is really really strong. Intimidate is really strong, and so yeah, I think somewhere in the A tier is probably right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got a priority move too, which is really cool. A couple of different good items that I've seen on it. The water one, it doesn't get much like you can't get too creative with it, I guess. Like, you know, we were talking about like, you know, Gengar and Clefable having like deep move pools. I think this is a pretty shallow move pool, all things considered. But like it's not bad. You know, it does like one thing and it does it well. You can run wild charge on it, but yeah, anyways. Um yeah, I like the guy. Now, the fire one. I think the fire one probably goes just below. Maybe in the I guess B plus. I don't know. If we're keeping Tauros in A minus, it feels like it should be farther from it, but I don't know.
I'd put it in B. I mean, again, it's just like look at all the fire type intimidate users we on this list, right? There's four of them. Well, why would you use Tauros? There is a reasons to use it. I wouldn't put it as low as Arcanine, where base form Arcanine, where I think it's outclassed. But like, you have to think really hard over using it over the other three fire type intimidate users, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it gets like Wisp, and I've seen Sunny Day, but I don't think that that is. Again, I think it's just kind of like a. The typing is not as neat. Something that I always complained about with Water Urshifu was that it had a lot of resistances. Water fighting resists 7 types. Like it sounds like we're talking about like Heatran here, you know, like it just like resists so many. It can switch it on so many things. That doesn't mean that Tauros has like the greatest bulk. Its special defense stat is definitely like its weakness. But regardless, like you know, if you want to just take one hit, Tauros is definitely good at that, and then getting off a very strong hit afterwards. Plus, let's just say it. I feel like the water wind looks cooler. I like the tail. The tail looks
True.
fun. All right, more
I'm just
intimidate.
saying, I see 6 fire types over 5% usage right now. So like there's so many fire types. There's so many fire types. Sorry, just to keep going on this, but like the fire type slot has so much competition. It's going to suppress everyone's ranking a little bit, I think.
That does make it a little. It's just, yeah. I don't know. I can see it being all right. I probably need to get more testing into it myself to like really experience it. Let's talk about intimidate some more though. We have another water type intimidate, Gyarados. Gyarados, I feel like you are just worse than Tauros. I'm sorry. Like,
Yep.
I want to put it in B minus. This is like the lowest tier that we're putting like usable Pokemon. I feel. It still has that like Thunder Wave set, and you can do like Clear Am, DD, Terra Flying Blast. I don't know. I have not seen the Terra Flying Blast D-Knights or Gyaradoses anymore. Because I feel like after a year or so of Terra, we've learned that Pokemon that always have to Terra are really costly. And the support set also just feels like it is doing nothing. You know, base power is king, and going for Waterfall all the time, you're better off having a Talonflame with its 120 base power move with 80 attack or whatever. Gyarados, you'd think it hits harder, but it really just does not.
Yep. And on top of that, even the ground resist is not actually all that valuable anymore. There are just not a ton of ground types anymore, right?
Nope.
And so and a lot of the water types are special attackers or somewhat ignorant like to that. Yeah, I just don't see it.
Murkrow hits harder. Honestly true. Ditto. Yeah, Ditto is always a Pokemon. But is it worth the time? I think it just goes down in C tier.
Sure. Yeah.
There's nothing really worth copying, and it's like low HP stat is a bit more of a detriment in this format than it would be in like some of the other like restricted formats. There's a reason that you don't really see it that often in non-restricted formats. And yeah, I think that it's mainly that it's better to like when the format is about like getting 2-hit KOs or 1-hit KOs, Ditto is popping off. But when there's a lot more 3-hit KOs and so on, Ditto is not so happy. Worse for Alligator, honestly, coming up soon. Wait. Oh, no. For Alligator's not coming up soon. He's in the unranked section already. Sorry.
If you can justify why Feraligatr should not be unranked, we might rank it.
Mr. Tsushima's already tried to get me to run for Alligator on the team before. It might have been even in Reg G. Snorlax. What is Snorlax doing? Anything?
Oh, God, what is it doing?
Like,
it has Thick Fat. It has Yawn. People are running Belly Drum on it, but that can't be the best thing to do.
I could put it in B minus just because like the Mon has good bulk, and there's a lot of special attackers that you'd be happy to switch this thing in on. Thick Fat's pretty cool against these Sun teams, but I'm thinking about Thick Fat, and that's where the thought ends. I don't know actually what you put on the Mon. I don't know what the Mon does.
I think it is just worse solo Dozo. I think that's the best case scenario.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even put it B minus. I'd put it in C.
Yeah, I'm down with C. I'm down with C. Solo Dozo does like also resist the same things Thick Fat does in a way. It doesn't come with the same weaknesses. So like if you don't want to be weak to Rillaboom, you kind of already are weak to Rillaboom by having a low defense stat. D-Knight. How do you feel about D-Knight, Adi?
Dude, I don't know how I feel about Dragonite. I feel like this is a Mon that we've seen so much with Chien-Pao that it's hard to like kind of reevaluate. And I see a lot of people running the choice band stat, but that was not how it was run in series 1 and 2 before we got access to the Rune Pokemon. And it was really good in those formats too, just in a very different role. Where it got to run these other items, it got to maybe take advantage of multi-scale. But like, yeah, a lot of its best partners, even back then, Orthworm was really cool with it, but that also, we're going to talk about that later, but that also isn't very good. So it's just like, it's higher in usage than I think it should be, is really where it is. I think there's other dragon types you could use. I think there's other E-speed users you can use. It has a lot of stats for this format. That is true. Both of its abilities are really good. I haven't wanted to put it on any teams, it's an awkward fit.
I think that's the best way to describe it, is I just haven't found myself wanting it on a team. It's just like the most like I don't know. It's a very well-rounded dragon type, so it can switch in on a lot of things. If you commit to like a bulky set with multi-scale, or like the assault vest ones, like we saw in those early formats in Scarlet and Violet, you might be able to return to that. But yeah, there's like a lot of different Pokemon in the format now than there was then that I feel like make it a lot harder to use this Pokemon. And if it's not doing the degenerate E-speed stuff, I feel like it feels a lot like Gyarados. Like it just doesn't hit hard enough. And we'll get to
Are you
talking about
putting it in A
Dragapult,
minus?
but I feel like Dragapult's definitely better. It's either A minus
So you
or
put it,
B plus. I could put it in B plus.
I'd put it in B plus. I think we gotta assert our hot takes a little bit here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Ooh,
and one
Typhlosion's
thing
next. Go ahead.
one thing that that Kunal was suggesting was that we come back and we reevaluate these tiers. And so we might do that maybe after the first NA and E regionals. We might try to look at this again and see how things have changed.
Yeah, and see how wrong we are. You know, we're happy to be wrong, honestly. It's like more fun to like, actually stand on something than to just like do the most safe. Like, we could just sort this list by usage and just be like, all right, here we go, guys. Our vanilla tier list. Typhlosion, though. I think this mod is very good. It's like, you have to build around it. It is not splashable at all. Like some of the absolute highest tier Pokemon. But when you build around it, it's got great payoff. It's got that ghost typing. And I guess, and we're building this in the context of like best of 3 open team sheet, but also I think Frisk will be really goated in the grand challenges and stuff like that, the online tournaments. But regardless, yeah, this Pokemon is super strong and great typing. I feel like I like it in A minus just because it's, again, not like super splashable. You have to commit to it, but it's, yeah, like I said, it's worth it. It's worth it.
I think that we were talking about like, what do you actually try to build around? What do you try to protect? If this guy gets 2 attacks off, a lot of times you've won the game, right? Or undamaged. That's the strength of it. Again, it's just that, wow, there are so many fire types that you have to commit to building around this. This is your fire type. And if you do, I think it's really strong. I think I justify A, but I think I agree. I think it's probably A minus just because there are so many fire types. It's really, really hard to you can't put on any team. You really have to commit to using Typhlosion as your damage dealer. And that's just not something that this format is really conducive to normally.
Yeah, exactly. It's got counters too. It's not like the most like oppressive thing, and like it's a sun using Pokemon in a bit of a rain format. They're both like back and forth though. I feel like sun and rain. It feels like there's never like one is directly beating the other. They're both just beating the shit out of each other. Now, Azu, I think it's just worse than pretty much every other water type.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Like, Marina has the same typing, right? Like,
yeah,
it's hard to justify it. C, I think it's C. Like, I can justify it, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess the belly drum set.
I'm not going to.
Do you want it in C or do you want it in D?
I'd put it in C, but also I don't really want to spend time talking about it.
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about Politoed. I think Politoed belongs in B minus. It's like super outclassed by Pelipper, but it does have Perish Song. I guess what else is there? Like, what are the other good things? What resists does Pelipper lose by getting the flying type? Not like a lot, right? Any?
I mean, it has it.
The electric weakness is kind of fake. The rock weakness is also mildly fake. It has haze, I guess.
Haze is the big one, but I don't know.
Ice,
I don't think
ice
Rain
is the weakness.
Really
okay. Ice is also a fake one. But thank you for that. Is the correct answer.
Yeah, B minus seems right. I think it's one of those, like, again, why would you use this over the better counterpart? But it's not a bad Pokemon. It's just I think Pelipper is better most of the time.
Yep. And I don't think we can do Gothitelle Perish type stuff like we used to. So it's a little bit harder to do.
Not when the 3 best Pokemon of the format are Rilla, Goldie, Ensign. Like, good luck.
Jumpluff. I feel like Jumpluff is probably like B tier. I think it's like pretty decent.
Really? Okay.
I think it's decent. I saw Joe using it on stream like yesterday or whenever the ladder went live. And it's just like I don't know. The thing about his team was that it was like, the Eject Pack Torkoal, and then you go into either Garchomp or Typhlosion, and you click Earthquake or Eruption. And its speed tier is very solid, and it's an alternate way to use Tailwind, but it's a Tailwind setter that has Sleep Powder. It has some like really annoying moves that you have to deal with. And if you do have Sun up, like from Torkoal or I guess Ninetales, then it's going to outspeed a lot of things even in Tailwind, and so they have to deal with that the whole time. So, probably a better alternative to Lilligant than Venusaur, but I still think I'd probably end up putting Lilligant above it. It's just like a very annoying Pokemon.
I want to know what tier you're putting Lilligant in. But
That's fair.
it's because that's kind of the benchmark. But like, I don't know. It does have a tool. I didn't think it was very good, but I think it does have a cool toolkit. I could definitely see you justifying it. And honestly, I think that it's pretty cool that you could probably just use Outside of Sun as like a fast Tailwind setter that has a really unique set of tools: Pollen Puff, Encore, Strength Sap, Sleep Powder, Rage Powder. I guess Rage Powder. Dan, it really does get a lot of cool moves.
Yeah. The support set's very solid. Or like, sorry, the Rage Powder, like obviously the whole thing it's doing is supporting. I don't think Umbreon does anything anymore. They took out the Calyrexes. So I'm putting it in C. Yeah, I think nothing. Ooh, Murkrow.
All right, so Murkrow in Series 1, I remember, was the most overrated Pokemon, and then absolutely just tanked the first regional. But now, I think I don't know. I feel like it's still kind of in the same boat. I think it's still like the second best Tailwind setter behind Whimsicott. Haze is really cool. It plays really well with Goldie. Yeah, I think A- is probably about right. I think that it's definitely going to see a lot of play. I think it's a strong Pokemon, but I think it's very limited in terms of how you can build around it.
Yeah, I'm so like I was thinking the same kind of line of thought is that like what has changed to make Murkrow better, and I don't really know what it is. When I find out the answer, I'll get back to you guys. But I do think it feels a little bit better than it did back then. But yeah, there's more competition now in Whimsicott. Slowking is the same Pokemon as Slowbro, and the other one, I think I'll also put it in C. This one has like the what's the fun? No, spell tag or sorry, spell eerie spell. Is that what the move is called? Not really worth using. The ability Curious Medicine is kind of funny, but it's Chilly Reception. Chilly Reception's kind of funny. Yeah, because you can like set Trick Room and against like the rain teams, and then switch out and disrupt their raid at the same time. That's like kind of goofy. But I don't know if that's like actually worth it.
You could also like use a Pokemon that actually beats the rain team, right? Like that also there are a lot of Pokemon that can set up a different weather. That's not unique to Slowking. It just means that you don't have to put a Slowking on the field, but like just start with the Pokemon that you want to have on the field,
Yeah. Its typing is decent, I guess. Kingdra. I don't really see the vision with Kingdra. It is like an alternate rain sweeper, but we have like Archaludon if you want a dragon type that's good in rain, and we have Basculegion if you want a water type. So I'm okay putting it in like B-, but I also really haven't seen anybody using it, so it'd be fine in C too.
I like B-. I think it is a very strong Pokemon that again I think is just a little outclassed by all the other rain abusers.
Yeah. P2 is really cool. P2 is like pretty solid again. I think that personally, after like my experience testing on stream laddering, that bulky balance has felt pretty hard to pilot right now with how much faster offense there is and slower Trick Room. So you kind of get stuck in the middle and just bullied. But regardless, P2 is like the premier like balanced Trick Room setter. It's mostly paired with regular Guts Ursaluna right now, and it does pretty well for itself. It's definitely hard to KO. There's not a like overwhelming amount of fighting type coverage. So if your team's lacking a fighting type or a strong fighting move off the rip, it can be good for that.
Yeah, are you putting in B+? I think it's A- at the very least.
I'm down with that. I haven't seen a lot of it, I guess, but yeah. I'm down for
It's
that.
very bulky and it's also very adaptable because
It
you have
doesn't get
access to Terra
adaptability out
Blast
of
with
you.
the stab move. It has Terra Blast and it has the ability to change into whatever type it needs. And so I think there's a lot of different ways you can run it, even though you're not really deviating from Trick Room, Recover, Terra Blast, Flex Slot. It does get to kind of fit whatever role it needs. It's super bulky. Yeah, I think like as formats develop, as formats slow down, Porygon 2 usually finds a place, and I think this will be no exception.
All right, who is next? Smeargle. So Smeargle, I don't want to say it's as bad as Ditto by any means. I want to put it down in B minus, but for some of the same reasons that I mentioned at Ditto as Ditto, mainly that it gets better the higher the power level because it's worth supporting those restricted Pokemon, and also as I was saying, like in bulky formats, Smeargle getting 2-hit KO'd because it's got the focus sash and it's just so frail is frail and bad, but like in restricted formats where everything's getting 2-hit KO'd anyways, Smeargle living 1 hit guaranteed is pretty solid. There's definitely still some things that Smeargle can do. I think it's a good Pokemon, but yeah, I'm not really convinced what it should be doing yet. But of course, it can do anything.
It could literally do anything, but I think B minus is right because redirection. There's so many redirection users. Spore. All right, we got a number of Pokemon that can put things to sleep. And then like, what are you doing? Clicking decorate, clicking. What else are you clicking? Like, I'm looking at the usage stats, and the only thing people are doing with it is clicking decorate. And I like, there's nothing I want to decorate that much, you know. Also, I
Yeah.
think I might rather run Alchemy at that point. Alchemy is also like a Pokemon, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, Alchemy might come back to outclassing it. Who knows? We'll see when we get to it. Hitmontop, more intimidate. Um,
Uh,
Wide guard's okay, but I think this mon has not
is it?
been good in a minute.
Yeah. There are better
Um,
fighting types.
yeah,
You
and
have we have two other intimidate fighting types that are already better. So
wait, oh Tauros. I was like, what are they? Um,
yeah.
anyways, yeah, I think B minus is still fine for it. Like it could do some things. It's better than the C guys. T-Tar is pretty awesome. I think T-Tar is so back. And I think while we're like actually giving, I feel like a lot of our takes have been too safe. I want to say T-Tar is A. I think it's probably underplayed currently.
Uh, I think that A is about where it would be in terms of usage. I might even
Oh, really? Okay.
consider putting it in A plus. Like this is a Pokemon that disrupts your weather, that threatens the primary weather setters of every other type of weather, right? So it is immediately putting you in an advantage there. It is really the only really strong rock type. And again, I think a lot of Pokemon in this format are like low key, kind of like disrespecting rock coverage. It's hard to switch into. There are a lot of fighting types. There are a lot of other like King Gambit's a problem. Like it doesn't position all that well, but like this is a big ball of stats in a format, like the biggest ball of stats in this format. I think period.
Also,
So
it kind of
I
beats
think
King
it's
Gambit one-on-one right now. The King Gambits usually aren't running Iron Head, and you usually run low kick, so it's like not too bad
mm-hmm.
there. My main
Yep.
counterpoints to T-Tar aren't like the classic like haha 4x fighting weakness, but I guess a little bit like you want to bring it to disrupt the rain teams, but then Archaludon does run body press, which could be a little sad. And then on top of that, like Mon 1 being Rillaboom, that's just like you do just get one shot by Woodhammer.
That's true.
And so those are two things that keep me from putting T-Tar on like almost every team. But it's still so good, I think. So I'm happy
It's got
with
so
A.
many stats. This format, everyone's doing base 530 mons, and it's a base 600 mon that gets a free assault vest. Like it's kind of crazy.
Let's run what about a 400 something Mon with Pelipper?
How do you even evaluate Pelipper? I mean, it's got to be A, right? It's A or A minus, but like it is just the best weather setter in terms of the Pokemon that it can enable. So I think I
Mm-hmm.
put it in A.
It's probably A. I was almost wondering if it's supposed to be A plus because like, it's also super able to do damage. The weather balls and hurricanes, they're still doing the same things that they were doing in like Reg F. I know it didn't see like a ton of play in Reg F, I guess, but like basically it just hits the like fire water grass cores really well. You hit the fires with weather ball, you hit the grasses with hurricane. I guess you don't hit the waters as hard anymore, but like this mod is just so good at hitting things, and um, and enabling things. There's a lot of Pokemon that it's worth enabling with rain. So I don't know. It's just kind of goated. Wide Guard and Tailwind, both very good moves. So tough. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I like it. I think the biggest weakness with rain is that you have to have a Pelipper and you have to lead it basically.
Mm,
And that is just exploitable. And there are so a few other things about the rain team that you can really punish. That is makes me a little lower on Pelipper, even though it does have a pretty cool toolkit on its own.
yeah. Slacking. Slacking. I think that strategy is dog shit, and I want to make a statement, put it in D. Like, I know that you can use it. I think it's so bad. Can people stop
I
using it,
agree.
man? Stop.
Yep.
I'm even like, I'm okay with you wanting to use Wheezing, just like use some other shit. Run Ability Shield on a Pokemon that like is actually oppressive or something. Or run like some Pokemon that don't need their abilities that can be strong. Like, I don't know. I guess Gengar is not a good example. I was looking at Gengar. It doesn't use its
Dragapult.
ability much. Dragapult, that's
Bring
a
back
good
Weezing
one.
Bolt.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for Dragapult. Okay, Hariyama. I
Hariyama is probably viable as a Trick Room sweeper that helps you facilitate getting up Trick Room. But then you got to say, okay, why are you not running the craziest Trick Room sweeper ever made in Ursaluna as your primary sweeper, right? And so you probably have to put it next to an Ursaluna. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's probably B minus. I haven't really seen it is the thing, and I don't know if that's how I would go about building Hard Trick Room myself.
I like that's so I'm one of like Hariyama's biggest fans. Like I do have my like little art here on the wall. Here he is. Like I won a regional with Hariyama Hard Trick Room, and I think that just can't quite cut it anymore because like the toolkit's awesome. It still has Feint too, which is a big plus. That's something that I think Trick Room teams like. One of the best counterplays to them is just getting a double protect, and it's like, well, don't get double protected on. Don't get protected on at all. Use Feint. But there's like fairy types that can kind of wall it, and you can't really fit all the moves that you want on it because you have to run knockoff to hit ghosts. You have to run heavy slam to hit fairies. You Feint, wide guard, whatever, and a stab move. And then on top of that, the Trick Room teams are currently like slower than it. Like is it better than expanding force spam in Trick Room? I don't know if it is. Spread moves are busted, so we have a couple of prankster Pokemon coming up next. Sableye. I feel like Sableye kind of fits in honestly B minus. It's got like a role, but if similar to Smeargle and other guys that do better in restricted formats, it's just like too frail and won't get enough value out of its turns.
Yep, I think I agree with that. It has Quash, right, which is one of the more unique moves that it gets. But other than that, I think that there's just a few other mons that do a lot of the same things. And
Murkrow
also
gets that too.
now, oh yeah, Murkrow gets hit. Yeah, like Murkrow and Whimsicott are just better most of the time. I really have to want to be fake out immune or like really want to set screens with your guy, I guess.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube. Just yeah, for people who are here now, this will definitely be up on YouTube. Okay. Illumise, another prankster one, and I do think it's kind of interesting because like we lost Torn. There maybe is room for a prankster tailwind setter that what does it get that the Whimsicott doesn't? Like I don't know, it just has a different
Struggle Bug.
defensive
It's
typing.
just Struggle Bug.
Okay.
It's Struggle Bug, and that reduces special attack, right? You can just run Light Screen on Whimsicott.
Yeah. Okay. I think it goes in B minus.
I think it goes in C. I don't know why you ever use this guy.
Fine. You know what? C is fine. C is fine. Torkoal. Torkoal is doing well. It's not. I feel like it's probably the same kind of definition as Typhlosion, and it might even find its way onto Typhlosion's teams. But you got to build around it. You got to commit to it. But it's usually a strong payoff. It's gonna find its way onto the Psy Spam Hard Trick Room teams or degenerate, teams that use Typhlosion and Trick Room or something like that. Mostly Trick Room, but it also has like the eject pack overheat set too that it could probably try using again with like Fissure and Yawn. I don't know. It's a cool mod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think A's right. A minus is fine. Yeah, like either one. Nothing more to add. You know what it does. It's Torkoal. It's been doing the same thing since Gen 3.
Oh, was Carson using Illumise before Whimsicott came back?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, Whimsicott came back
Was
in
it?
F and not in. Okay, yeah, no, this month's actually retired. I'm sorry, Elomise. Ooh, I didn't make it this far yet, Adi. So we have a couple of quick ones that we can dump into the don't unranked tier. Cacturn, Zangoose,
Yep.
Seviper, Wishcash. I think Crawdot also goes in there.
We can talk
Altaria
about
was
Crawdon.
used at the World Championships, so I will give it a ranking. Um,
Hmm.
the ranking is D tier,
Okay.
but man, that team, God, would I kill to see some replays from it. Larcy, are you still here? I thought I saw Larcy in here earlier. Larcy, I want to know how that game went. Maybe you talked about it on a stream that I didn't catch, but I gotta know how that game against the Altaria team at Worlds went. Uh, it's a possible answer to Dondozo. Well, you will get one shot by order up, so like you have to be very careful about how you do it.
But you can Perish Song it and haze it, and then you can Draco Meteor it multiple times too. So it's got all that going for it,
It
right?
does, it does, it
Wait,
does.
it gets Will-O-Wisp. That's a cool move, I guess.
No,
I don't
okay.
know.
The real, let's give it 10 more seconds. The 10 more seconds I'm giving it is that Cloud9 is very cool right now. If you, if the Archaludons aren't careful, you could switch it in and disrupt that. It also resists, like the water moves. I guess would it make Weather Ball a normal move? Anyways, I think so. I resist Eruption. Like, it's anti-weather, but I think the payoff, you'd rather just run your own weather as anti-weather.
Can't wait to get Dracoed by the Archaludon.
Yeah, well, no, you lock them into the
Mega
electro
Altaria
shot.
back.
You lock in them into electro shot, and then you do nothing on the follow-up turn. Like they just get to click it. Milotic, dude, there's so many Intimidate Pokemon on this list. How good is Milo? Tell me now.
I think Milo is underrated. That's not to say it's good, but I do think that it is a usable Pokemon. I think that it's another water type Dozo answer, which we've seen a lot of. It's got actually a very good special defense stat, and so
It has haze.
It has haze, yeah.
Okay.
So like it's not great into Archaludon, but like it can take an attack from it at the very least. And like you said, Intimidate is really good. It still has the Coil Hypnosis stuff that it could do back in last generation when it's a little more impactful because the Dynamax, it gets Scald, which is I think one of the very few Pokemon that gets Scald, which can be very annoying for some Pokemon like Annihilate, for example. And so yeah, I think an Icy Wind, I don't know, like it's got a toolkit. It's got some unique moves. Life Dew, okay, I'm actually looking at more of his toolkit. It actually doesn't have much of a toolkit, but it does a couple things in a very interesting way, and of course, it does deter Intimidate. And so, I'm willing to put it in B tier and give it the benefit of the doubt, but I would understand B minus as well.
Ooh, ban it. That one's gone. I saw a tier list today. I think it might have been from Robbie, and he had he didn't rank all the Pokemon quite like we did. He picked a more restricted list and ranked them. And Dusclops made the cut, and I was kind of like, I haven't fought one. I haven't seen one. I've looked at the results of a lot of Limitless tournaments. I don't know what it's doing. Like, it's a Eviolite's awesome. It's not quite P2, but it's not like that bad. I don't know. What do you think?
I also don't really know what I would be doing. I guess Frisk. Okay, I'll tell you what. In best of one, I could see you using this because it does have Frisk, and Frisk is a really good ability, especially if you want to set up Trick Room, do some stuff with your Ursaluna or whatever. I can see it being a little better there. I think in best of three, I think it's very hard to justify using.
Man, I have Sableye and B minus. I feel like I just don't like that. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, dude, this guy's got to be a C tier Pokemon, right? I feel like I need more tiers, but I also don't want to add more. We already have so many. Okay, let's Tropius.
Okay. Yeah, no, not Tropius. I was gonna say I think there's a few Pokemon we could probably drop, but I don't think we ought to nitpick it. I think we just gotta get through these.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I put Chimecho, Tropius, Glalie, Lovedisk, and Salamence all in unranked. Just kidding.
That sounds all right.
But Salamence, B?
What is Salamence doing? Tell me.
Good speed tier. Okay, 100 speed tier, pretty cool. You could run like Tailwind on it. You're gonna lose out to the Prankster Tailwinds for sure. And I don't really like the balance approaches anyway, so I don't know if that set's viable. It could run Hurricane on the rain teams. I think we did a bit of that in one of the formats. One of them for sure. I don't know what letter it was, but it was a letter. And Intimidate. normal flying like Dragonite, it can switch in on a lot of things. Or sorry, dragon flying, it can switch in on a lot of things. But after that, it is just kind of clicking stabs, like high power stabs off of a good stat.
Uh,
Um,
well, only one high power stab, unless you have rain on the team, and then that means you're not running the other dragon type on the team, most likely, right?
you can definitely
Or maybe you
double
are.
down with Arch, but yeah,
I Here's my thought: is that if I'm not running it on rain, I think I would almost always rather run Hydreigon. I think Hydreigon also does Tailwind and Draco Meteor better.
yeah,
It's just that it is slightly slower. But like it really like only against other Salamence, basically. Like there's very few things that between 98 and 100. And so you really need to take advantage of Intimidate. And I mean, you've seen this tier list. Look at all these Intimidate mons. You tell me you can't find one other Intimidate Pokemon to put next to your Hydreigon, and you have to run Salamence. Like, I don't know. I think B is probably right, but like I'm really low on this Pokemon.
yeah. What about Metagross?
Okay. So I think MDB was talking about Metagross in Tub yesterday, and he was saying, it theoretically does some cool things, right? It does get Heavy Slam now, which is a pretty high power steel move against a lot of Pokemon, especially when out restricted. It has Psychic Fangs as like a pretty reliable psychic move. It has Bullet Punch, which is a really nice priority. It's got knockoff, but I don't know. This mon just hasn't been good in a long time, and I still don't think it's very good.
Yeah, I think mainly it's just outclassed by other steals was what like the discussion had come to is that, King Gambit, Archer Ludon, Golden Go, all doing very valuable steel type things. And um yeah, there isn't a Flutter to Bullet Punch anymore. There's not like as strong like the main fairy type is technically neutral to steel, which it's a water type too, but regardless, um yeah, with Metagross, it's that heavy slam is not enough of a payoff when you could just be clicking make it rain, in my opinion.
That's true. Or even Arcaludon, but like if you want the AV on it, Arcaludon also does a lot of the same things. Yeah. Like you gotta really, really hate Clefable, I guess. I don't know.
I'm putting Torterra and Infernape in unranked.
Torterra does have Shell Smash now.
It's going
I
in
don't know if that makes
unranked.
it good.
It's going in
Okay.
unranked. I think it's a worse Shell Smash Pokemon than Blastoise. I think Blastoise is usable, somewhat. It's that's why Blastoise made the ranked. Empoleon
Okay.
at the beginning of the format was something that me and ESM were bickering a lot about. I think you might have been part of this conversation because he thought it was a top 10 water Pokemon and I thought it wasn't, or something like that. We just put Milo on the list, and I think he's a firm believer that it's better than Milo. What do you think, Adi? Is it better or worse than Milo?
I think that it is worse than Milo because if you don't get intimidated, it sits on the field and does nothing. Whereas Milo at least clicks Coil Hypnosis, which is something. It exerts pressure. It forces your opponent to switch, to react to it. Empoleon, you're clicking Flash Cannon, you're clicking Yawn. I guess Yawn is something, but I don't know. Again, Yawn is also like, is this better than Dozo? Really? Like,
Much better steel types.
it does get Haze again. Like it is sort of a Dozo answer. Yeah, there's better steel types. The I think it's worse than Milo. Yeah, I think it's B minus.
Okay. Do you want to rank Staraptor?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Staraptor's a real Pokemon. Because we saw Squawkabilly do well in a very similar format.
God damn it! Shut up, man.
And Staraptor is a better Squawkabilly. It gets Final Gambit, and obviously Annihilate also gets Final Gambit. But like having the kind of semi-unique tool set of Final Gambit plus Intimidate is something. Brave Bird's a cool move. Flying Coverage is not the easiest thing to find if you're not running Rain. So like, yeah, I can see B minus.
I think B minus in that
I can
it's
see
like
C as well.
outclassed by other Final Gambit mons, it's outclassed by other Brave Bird clickers, and it's outclassed by other Intimidates. But if you want all of those in one, this is the package. All right, Kricketune, Luxray, Rampardos, Bastiodon.
Okay, wait. I think Rampardos is actually viable. I don't know if I put it at C or D tier, but like that is the damage ceiling of the format.
No.
We saw
Torkoal and
a
Expanding
Rampardos
Force just do more. Like that. It's. I don't think so.
All right.
Sheer Force Rock Slide is definitely funny, but you're also using a spread move that can miss. Just use Eruption or Expanding Force.
That's fair.
Pachirisu, do we put that mod on the list? I think it's just worse than Electabuzz, like a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rank it. I don't want to rank it. Floatzel. All right, Gastrodon.
speaking of the 10 water types that are better than Empoleon, yeah, Gastrodon's like actually probably pretty good, I think. I would okay, pretty good, maybe a little bit too much, but like it's again, there's not really many ground types in this format, which means that it does have something going for it. Obviously it's competing with Ursaluna for that slot, but it does something very different from Ursaluna. It has Muddy Water, which is a really annoying water move. It has Clear Smog, which means it beats Dozo. It has Yawn. It redirects the water attacks from it and protects your other Pokemon. So maybe you can protect something like a Volcarona really effectively. I think this Pokemon is real. And I don't know what tier do you have it in,
I
Alex?
got it in B plus. I think B plus sounds right for it. It's like probably used the correct amount. Like you're not supposed to put this on a lot of teams, but it is a Pokemon that can really create annoying board states. You know, if you put it next to that Volcarona and your only way to deal with it was like your Water Tauros or your whatever water type attacker you had, then it can start running away with the game. And you know, Earth Power very good. Yawn. There's a lot of Pokemon that are stacking boosts, and if you want to just force them to switch out and make them miserable, it's pretty good. Redirect the water attacks with the 5 fire types on your team. So true. So true. Yeah, I think it's probably like just a niche pick, but it's worth it when you pick it. Anyways, Ambipom, Drifblim, Adi, am I putting it on or off the list?
If you want to put it in D tier, I'd appreciate that, but like
I will.
I
I'll
tried
do it
it.
for
I'm
you.
sorry, I can't get it to work. There's so few things that can really take advantage of the tailwinds with the terrain setter. Like, I mean, there's just, I don't know. I don't need to talk about it. It's bad.
Yeah. It doesn't have like Tapu Lele next to it anymore, where like it's like the offense is already covered for it. You're kind of end up with like 2 supporters on the field almost. Even if you're running in DD Mail, that's also still not the strongest.
What Drifblim did in Dynamax was that you couldn't KO it because then I got my free switch to my Dynamax mon, and that was really annoying for you. And there's no Pokemon that does that in this format. I've looked. There's nothing quite the same.
Yeah. Miss Magus, Honchkrow, Skuntank. Somebody used Skuntank in G, man. I think it was one of the Emergians. Anyways, Bronzong. Does Bronzong make the list? It does. Wall,
yes.
Blood
Yeah.
Moon.
Yeah, I think it makes the list. It's a Trick Room setter that can be paired with the Ursaluna base form, right? So you can Earthquake next to it, which is pretty cool. I think that's enough of a niche that you definitely I could see someone running it. But again, there are a lot of Trick Room setters, and I wouldn't necessarily use it like as my. It wouldn't be the first Trick Room setter I put on the team, but I could see teams trying to build around Bronzong or Ursaluna, for example.
Yeah, Iron Defense Body Press is also a cool thing to have on a Trick Room setter. Yeah, it's got a couple of things that separate it from the rest. It also has Gravity, I guess, if that ever becomes relevant, right? Gravity is still on this Pokemon.
I guess it also has Heat Proof.
Yeah,
That's on the Pokemon too.
Yeah. Okay, Spiritomb, no. Garchomp, yes. Okay. So Garchomp is honestly a pretty divisive one, and if you ask me my opinion on the last 3 days, it would probably be a different take each time. I thought this mon was like unusable. Then I was like, I could see the benefits, and now I'm like, wait, somebody's like topping ladder with this mon. So, and like I talked about it in the context of Joe's team earlier. Like the main thing is that it's a fast ground type. When a lot of these like turbo mons, I keep mentioning the same 3, but they are like all around the same speed, and they're all weak to ground. Glimora, Archaludon, and Golden Go. They all have to just kind of hold it when Garchomp clicks, Stomping Tantrum into them. The only thing holding this mon back is that it has to use very low base power moves, and Earthquake in a format where Rillaboom is setting up terrain in probably almost half the games does kind of suck, but you can cover for those weaknesses. You can make it a little bit stronger by running Life Orb. You can run mons that threaten the Rillaboom out of the game. So I think it's really cool. It's also faster than Typhlosion. Good highlight there as well. Yeah, it's just faster than a lot of things. The speed tier is becoming better and better, and ground types are hard to come by.
That's basically it. It's just like all the ground types kind of suck unless you're exactly running one of the Ursaluna forms. And so, and I guess Gastrodon, right? And so Garchomp, just by nature of being a ground type damage dealer, has to be up there. Also, you didn't mention, but Breaking Swipe with its speed tier now is actually pretty good too. So yeah, I like it in A-.
It's not perfect. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, Excadrill's cool. We'll definitely get to talking about that one. Riolu unranked. I think Lucario unranked. Max, thank you for the
Yeah.
sub. Welcome to Tub Nation. Gothitelle, we're getting there. We're getting there. But I like Goth.
You know
I
what?
do.
No, I think for a gift sub, or for a sub, I think we can skip ahead to
I'm
Gothitelle
down
right
for
away.
that. Let's do it.
What do you think? What do you think is Gothitelle as the parish dude?
So I actually played against Gothitelle during a coaching session, and it looked very convincing. And I was like, this looks pretty cool, probably underexplored. The thing that's holding it back is that, damn, there are some good ghosts. I'm not even that bothered by, like, a lot of people say, oh, Incinerella, haha, I will just click Parting Shot and U-turn and get out of there. And, like, I don't know. We've dealt with that in the past with Gothitelle, but the fact that there's, like, oh, Golden Go and Dragon Bolt and Basket Legion and Typhlosion and and Gengar, wow.
Annihilate, dude.
And Annihilate. Yeah, there's so many ghosts. There's a lot of ghosts. You have to overcome that, but if you can build around that, the Mon can really, really shine. So no, I'm sorry, it's not SSS tier. But I would probably put it, if we're doing like hot takes, like I think B plus is probably hot for it right now, like considering nobody's really using it.
That's hotter than I'd put it, but yeah, sure, we could go with that.
Let's do it. I mean, I do legitimately think this Mon is just underexplored.
All right, I'll tell you what the one thing that I think the position where it's going to be really good is if people start running Amoonguss more. Where currently Amoonguss is kind of taking second fiddle to Rillaboom, but what it can do is it can trap and it can taunt Amoonguss and it can turn it into not a Pokemon. And that is something that is very, very cool.
You can already do that with a lot of the support mons. Like, you could probably do that to a Clefable, Like, Clefable gets to only click Moonblast, and that's, like, not bad for it, but, it likes to click those support moves, so.
Yeah, and then also notably, it does help against Dozo if you build it to help against Dozo. It does actually do pretty well into Pelipper, Archaludon as a lead because they can't switch out anymore, and you can just kind of lead something that deals with it, right? So it's got some tools. I can see it.
We'll just do that. Lucario, I don't think it actually does anything in this format.
Nope.
Okay, so we'll put that in unranked. Toxicroak goes in Jacob tier because Jacob pops into every stream talking about Toxicroak, so Jacob, okay. I want you to know that it is there's Jacob. It is below unranked. I'm sorry. I'm putting it below unranked. Just for you. Lumineon unranked. Aboma, I think D.
It's yeah, that sounds right.
I think it gets ranked. I think it gets ranked, but I think it's D.
I think that if you could set a weather up, you do something, but like, yeah, just use Ninetales,
Well,
like,
I put Hippowdon on the unranked because I think it's so much worse than T-Tar. I don't think that goes in.
Give me 5 minutes and I'll justify Hippowdon. I'm gonna need the full 5.
Okay, what about Weavile? Is Weavile worth it right now? Like we lost Chien-Pao, and like everyone was like, haha, budget Chien-Pao. No, we don't got Chien-Pao anymore. Is having a Chien-Pao worth it?
So here's the thing. There are a lot of fast focus sash mods. That's the thing. I'm saying, like, there are so many Pokemon that you can say that, oh, this Pokemon outspeeds a lot of the format, takes up my focus sash, does some cool things. You have to really want the ice coverage. And for what it's worth, I don't think there's a ton of good ice coverage mods. So like that is a justification for it. I think you could use it, but like Ice Dark is pretty good offensive coverage, but I don't know. It's just like it really is fighting for that like fast mon, and there's a lot. I think usually you want your fast. I don't know. I wouldn't use it, but I could see why someone would use it.
Yeah,
because
I think it's got some. It's got some okay things going for it. It's like okay into Dragon Ball. It outspeeds a lot of things. And like fake out the fastest fake out really. Yeah, go into Dragon Ball. It can run low kick for like King Gambit too. It technically does have beat up, true. Sneasler outclasses it. I think they're just different. Like that's just like different typings. I think Sneasler is better. I don't think outclasses is the right word. I think they are just like different, despite being like the same thing, or just regional variants. Magnezone, there are no electric types in this format, and there still aren't. I'm sorry, Magnezone. I don't think I think the mon's like too good to just be I'll put it in D, but like what can you think of anything that validates this mon?
No.
Okay. Good talk. Rhyperior. Is there
the first video on my feed today morning was you shouldn't underestimate Lightning Rod Rhyperior. Thank you, Pokesports. I have no idea what it does though.
D tier then. I think that the mon is like got enough stats, and like a cool ability.
All right, Alex.
What?
What do you think? I just opened this video up because I said I saw it. What do you think the set on this Rhyperior is?
Assault vest with like way too many
No,
coverage moves.
no, it's got 3 attacks and a setup move, and it's
Swords
got
dance loaded
leftover.
dice.
No, it's Swords Dance, Supercell Slam, Rock Slide, Earthquake with leftovers.
Okay, yeah, I don't think that set's coming in VGC. It might do really good on the unranked ladder, the in-game unranked ladder. Lightning Rod for what oppressive electric type? Okay, no, the legitimate answer is for Electro Shot. Like, but then you're also bringing it against Rain. So what? Then you have to put the Gastrodon next to it, and now you've got an unkillable board of Gastrodon plus Rhyperior. I pray to God they don't have a grass type.
And you can Supercell Slam the Pelipper too.
Yep. Okay, I think Magmar and Electabuzz outclass their evolutions by quite a bit. Mainly the thing with Electivire is that it doesn't get any high base power moves, and it's a physical attacker. I'm gonna put it in C tier because I think Follow Me on like offensive Pokemon is interesting, but it probably just does it worse than their other guy, their pre-evolutions, and then also probably worse than like a Mousehold as well. Like if you want like offensive plus Follow Me. So yeah, I don't think they actually do anything, but like the Follow Me buff is pretty sick.
If they didn't reduce Electivire's speed stat, it would be usable. But why did they make it go from 105 to 95? That is like the worst possible drop that you can have. If it was 105 speed, I think maybe you can play it, but like, no, that was not good.
Yeah, I agree. And then Magmortar, I think Magmortar actually goes a tier below in D. It's pretty rough.
I can't justify that at all. There's too many.
Yeah, Electivire does have the electric immunity, and gets the speed boost off of that. Dude, there was that Yanmega team from stream. That team was too funny. I still think it was too much of a meme for this mon to even be ranked. Glaceon and Leafeon, I think, are gone. Gliscor.
No, I think that you could throw Glaceon in D just because I think people want to spam Blizzard, and it might be the best mon to do that. I also think Cryogonal might be a better mon to spam Blizzard. I'm not really sure, but I think at least you could try it out.
Okay, I buy it. Mamoswine. I think this mon gets ranked. It's got Oblivious, so it is immune to Intimidate. What's its speed stat? Can you remind me? I think it's only like 80.
80. 80. Yeah, it's 80.
Okay. Just a bit too slow to cut it. You can probably sash it and trade well with a lot of things. Ice Ground is amazing coverage. I feel like it's a B-. Probably, like, some teams could use it, but it's hard to use Earthquake right now. To be fair, it does... It hits, what's it called? Rillaboom. If they are going to be bringing in their Rillaboom to stop your Earthquakes, that you can just crash it on the switch and they lose them on. So yeah, it's cool that it can run like Sash and still have a built-in Clear Amulet in a way. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much else to say about it.
Fun fact, it gets Haze. It's a Dozo answer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that every ground type gets ranked because there's so few ground types, and yeah, I think B- is right.
Porygon Z for Blizzard spam? How are you doing that one? It doesn't get Z conversion anymore. Porygon Z is next up. I actually just saw this team won a Limitless tournament, and I was looking at that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. What's it doing? And it was like Terra Ground, Terra Blast with like Bolt Beam after that, which is cool. You got like 4 stabs coming off of a very high special attack stat, and a good speed stat. It's 95, so it can outspeed some of those annoying mons. But it's super frail. The moves aren't the highest base power, so if it's not hitting for super effective, it's probably not picking up a one-shot, and then it's probably getting one-shot in return. So I feel like I like it in C tier, but I could maybe be convinced by B-. What do you think of the mon?
I think if it won a tournament, I think we can put it in B-.
Yeah,
but
I like that.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it on ladder yet, so I couldn't say much about it.
Ooh, Gallade. So, Gallade is really only used in one context, and as soon as the format started, I wanted to use it in a different context, and it was okay for me. I was saying, like, hey, I think it could be good outside of Psyspam. It hits the Archaludons. It can, like, set Trick Room on Tail Room teams. I don't know if I was very right on that one, but I think if I kept going with it, I probably could, try to prove a point with them on. regardless, I think this mod is very solid, and obviously it's popping off on the sci spam comps. Where do you think it would fall, Adi?
Question, because like you said, yeah, it is a mon that has a very established place on one specific team. But how do you evaluate that in the context of the Pokemon itself in a tier list? I don't know. You seem to be a believer in it. I think B plus is just fine. I think saying it's a mon that has a place on one team is probably accurate. But you seem to believe that it's more broadly
I'm gonna
applicable.
put it an A minus. I wanted an A minus because like it is a big part of those teams, and those teams are starting to do really well. Those sci spam hard trick room teams. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's like you nobody like everybody thinks it's chill, and then they lead it, and you're like, wait, why is Psycho Cut one shotting my guys? This is not chill. Um. Anyways, okay. Next up is Probo Pass. Um. Dusknor, Frostlass. Um. Regular Rotom not getting ranked. Adi, we have reached the Rotoms. I'm not excited for
Okay.
this because some people were already saying like, "Hey, man, I think the Rotoms are slept on." And the like right when we started, and I was like, "I don't know. I don't know about this."
I also don't know about this. Like, there's theoretically roll compression. I think Levitate is worse than ever. Especially since all of them just get blown up by Blood Moon anyways. You have to like Terra Steel it to even have a chance, right? And so I don't know. First off, I'm gonna say Fan, Blizzard, just not viable. Don't use those guys. Grass, also probably not viable. I can see that in D because it does have some cool moves and does get to
Unique
yeah, it's like a
typing.
Will-O-Wisp that yeah, exactly. It's a Will-O-Wisp that can ignore Mungus, which is kind of cool. It's pretty good into Rillaboom, right? And then the other two are more debatable. Those are the two that have been traditionally very good, or not very good, but like pretty good over the course of VGC's history. I just I don't think Rotom Heat is very good. I think Rotom Wash being having the typing to do very well into rain teams might give it more of a niche.
Man, that Electro Shot's still gonna hurt.
Mm-hmm. But it
Yeah,
has does it have Eerie Impulse? It does have Eerie Impulse, yeah.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
can actually slow down.
And its speed tier isn't terrible.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think I'd put them in C, but don't expect to see them on any of my teams. Um, okay.
Okay.
Superior.
Yes. Okay. This is my turn because I've actually been testing Superior a bit, and I think this mod is really good. I've been really impressed by Superior. No one's really using it. I saw it had 0 uses in some of the Limitless tours, but like, it has a really good speed tier. Like its speed tier is faster than Mousehold, which means it immediately is disruptive against the mouse save stuff, and it also is a pretty good lead into a lot of the like Pelipper Archaludon stuff. It has Glare, it has Screens, and it also has Leaf Storm and Terra Blast if you want to run the more aggro set. But I really do think that the reason to use it is just like it has an incredible speed tier and it has a really strong support move pool. Glare is a very good move, 100% accurate paralysis move. And so I think that this Pokemon does have a niche. Yeah, I think B is probably right.
Okay. I'm putting it B only for you because we got to include some of your hot takes here. I probably would put them on lower, but also I need to see it more in action, you know? Embor is going unranked. Samurott unranked because it's definitely worse than the other one. Is the other
Mhm.
one worth using? Funnily enough, I saw a Gotti load up with it. I think it was last night. A Gotti was like, "We're loading up Samurai Hisui," and it didn't look convincing. In my opinion, I think he stopped playing with it pretty quickly.
Here's the pitch, right? If you're facing a rain team and they're using Pelipper and Basket Legion and Archaludon, well, you have Sharpness Sacred Sword to hit the Archaludon, and you have the Dark Coverage to hit the Basket Legion. They don't actually have a way to hit you for neutral damage, even. Except then you start running damage calcs, and you realize that it doesn't do any of the things you need it to do, and it's actually really bad. I would
No,
put it in. I would put it in B minus. I think it's going to see some play. I think it's actually like at the end of the day, like it does have a unique typing and a pretty cool toolkit. But
no, I wanted to
it
put it
just, it
in
just doesn't
D,
quite
and
get
so
there.
I'll meet you in the middle and put it in C.
All right.
Nerd now, thank you for the sub. Welcome back to the tub. And Zubstrika is next. And Zubstrika NCP tier. I don't know if that's supposed to be NPC or if NCP means something else. I'm not realizing. Um, but I'll go ahead and add a tier for that because why not? Um, I'm not gonna like the bottom tiers, by the way, are not making it into the Twitter screenshot. Oh, Nimbasa
Nimbasa
City.
City.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah. Ooh, Excadrill. Excadrill's a mon that I've been starting to gather more respect for. It outspeeds the guys that I keep talking about, Glim, Goldie, and Arch. It's funny that they're not on the tier list yet, but we're just going in generational order, and they are all new. So, regardless, that speed tier is really cool, and T-Tar is good, so I think you can run T-Tar Exca again. And after that, my hot take is this is coming off of us not using Clear Amulet on Cali Ice at Worlds. I think Clear Amulet is just like overplayed right now. I think a lot of teams can afford to beat Intimidate in other ways. Like we've done it for 8 generations of Pokemon. I guess Intimidate wasn't in Gen 1 and Gen 2. But there are ways to beat Intimidate that aren't just like, I'm a physical attacker and I don't have an immunity to Intimidate. Slap on that Clear Amulet. And so I feel like people are doing that a little too mindlessly. And like, you can run Sash, you can run Life Orb. And on top of that, it does like hit Incineroar super effectively already. So like if you're trying to hit the #1 Intimidate Pokemon, you're doing fine. Regardless, that's like a side take about the format. But Excadrill definitely like has a strong set of like stats and speed. Like it hits hard. Having Iron Head to hit Clefable is cool. It has a good number of resists. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think you probably see this mon a little more than I have. I have not really engaged with this mon very much this format, but I think you're right about the Clear Amulet, just because like if the point of running T-Tar Excadrill is that your 2 physical attackers are already going to hit the Incineroar really hard when it switches in, like already going to hit the I guess that's the main one, right? It's probably struggles into Water Taurus a little bit more, but like it's going to hit the Arcanine and Incineroar really hard when they switch in, and so you don't really need to run that, and you get some margins with your item slot. I don't know how good it actually is, but I think that's a theory for using it. I can justify using it. Yeah, I think B+ is probably about right.
Conkeldurr, I used to love to talk about Conk because it has the exact same stats defensively as Urshifu, basically. Like, they're very comparably close. And then it was also just a lot slower and a lot less broken. And it was like, dang, power creep goes crazy. But, Urshifu's gone. So where does that leave Conk? We tried it out on stream the other day, and, like, I think we were using Iron Fist, Assault Vest. It was okay. I think it probably goes down in D. There are better fighting types. I think usually fighting types are not very good defensively right now. Like, the best, like, defensive fighting type you can use, is, like, not even the Intimidate Tauros is I was going to say, like, Annihilate. Like, you can bulk that guy up and support it, and it'll stick around longer. The Tauroses, they won't stick around very long. They're going to get off their 1 Intimidate, and, maybe they can stick around. But Conk, I think, is just kind of doing the wrong thing. Like, I think Sneasler, I think Pawmot, I think fighting types are, like, frail offense type mons right now. Those are the best ones, and so, yeah. Is it also just worse than Hariyama? Probably.
Yeah, if you want fighting coverage, use Komoa. Like it's better, right? Use Body Press
Sure,
or use a fast one. I think those are the I agree. D tier seems right.
Skipping past Leavanny and then Whimsicott. Whimsicott is very good.
Where in A tier is it?
I wanted to say plus A+. Like we haven't really put that many mons up there.
We're getting there. We have not gotten to a lot of the good ones.
Power creep is real, and so like as we get later into the generations, that's where we're gonna start to find the good mons, of course. Regardless, though, I feel like it's A or A+. It is like the best Tailwind setter, and a lot of people think like Murkrow, because it has Haze, is so good in Dodozo. I think Whimsicott is just as good because of like Encore, and it walls all of Dozo's most common sets, the Wave Crash EQ Order Up. They have to run Heavy Slam, and it's not a Flutter format anymore. So Heavy Slam would be pretty much just for Whimsicott. If you're running it for Clefable, that thing's already unaware. So I think Whim is fine in Dodozo. You can Encore him. Whim is very bad in Dodozo. I just don't agree. I think it's very solid.
You have to it's not going to hard counter Dozo on its own. And I think that the reason newer players like Murkrow is because it's like, oh, I have a Dozo answer. I have Haze, and that's sure, cool. But especially in best of 3 open team sheet, what you have to understand is that you can build your team to be different variants of Dozo using different tools at your disposal, and you can put Pokemon next to Whimsicott that allow Encore to be very good into Dozo, or allow Fake Tears to be really good into Dozo, because you can now not give it this death boost. Or you can use Misty Terrain and make it so Order Up doesn't hit your Pokemon really hard. Maybe that's enough to give you some margin to Dozo, right? Like
Sunny
whatever your
Day,
team
yeah.
needs. Sunny Day, yeah. Whatever you need, Whimsicott can give it to you. And that's the important part, is that you build your team to beat Dozo, and Whimsicott is an essential part of that game plan, while also allowing you to not get run over by the aggro mode that Dozo always has in front.
Yep, exactly. And also, like, yeah, it's not even just like Fake Tears. Like, Encore is Adi already mentioned this, but if you Encore them into like, let's say they clicked Earthquake, and I Encore them and switch into like a flying type. Like, now I have them Earthquaking my flying type and Whimsicott. That's still a dub. Like, that is still absolutely a dub. And guess what? They don't get to ever switch out of that ever. Like, they are clicking Earthquake until they, like, 5-hit KO my Whimsicott or whatever the Earthquake is doing. So, I think that, like, it's a little narrow to think, like, yes, they're not going to protect in front of the Whimsicott. They, yeah, you can Encore them into Order Up, yeah, but then you'd have to have 2 fairies. Regardless, I think, like, there's just plenty of situations that it can do it. But yeah, Wims runs bulk. Wims runs bulk to live Brave Bird from Talon, so I think that it could probably take 4 Earthquakes. Maybe. I don't know. Lilligant regular, unranked. Lilligant Hisui.
Yep.
This is finally here. And I forgot to mention this when we were talking about fighting types. When I said fighting types are fast, frail things, like Sneasler and Palmot, this one also qualifies for that. It's a bit specific and also not as crazy. Like the Sun teams, like you're building around the Typhlosion, the Torkoal. Those are like the payoff mons. Whimsic or Lilligant is kind of like taking advantage of Torkoal and using it, but like I don't think it's. And also fighting types are good because like there's like you want to hit Blood Moon, you want to hit Arch super effectively, Mousehold. There's like a lot of things that it's nice to have a fighting type for. I feel like I like it in B+, but it's just not used on that many teams outside of exactly its specific archetype, kind of like Gallade.
I agree. I think B+ or A-, either one. But yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. It's a good assessment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next up is Crocodile, another Intimidate Pokemon. I think this one can be unranked, though. I don't know.
No. Okay, this one goes on the tier ranking because every ground type goes in the tier ranking, but I don't know where. Probably D. Probably D.
I'll put it in D. I don't know. What's its speed stat? That's always the question.
It's base 92 speed, which is not awful,
Whoa!
and it gets high horsepower and knockoff, which is like pretty good moves. It gets Gunk Shot. Like, I don't know.
That
I can see
is
it.
kind of nice. What the heck? Dude, I'm
Right?
running.
It's not
Okay,
awful.
no. All right, we're putting it actually in unranked, but don't tell anybody about it, Adi. This one's sick. This is my secret code. I'm not putting it high. I don't feel that emboldened to be like, by the way, guys, everyone's sleeping on Crook. It's really A-. But I don't know. It's like not too bad. I'll put it in C. You know what? We'll put it in B-. That's the hot take.
Okay.
Scrafty. It's another Intimidate Pokemon, and I
Nope.
think it's just worse than Incin. It's worse than a lot of things.
It's the 4th best fighting type Intimidate user.
I'll put it down in D. Zoroark, regular, unranked. Zoroark Hisui. People have been using it. I feel like it's probably B, just like straight up B. What do you think?
Yeah, I like B. That seems about right. It walls Annihilate, which is cool, and then it is just very, very annoying to play against. And especially depending on what they have, you don't necessarily know if it's actually that. So yeah, I think it's good. Its coverage is good. Yeah, it's a real mon. It's got good special attack stat, good speed stat. Like, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, my main issue is that it can, like, you have to run it with the choice specs and the Terra Normal, or it is just kind of a wet noodle. And on the flip side, it is still like going to be paper thin defensively. So it's very much leaning heavily on its gimmick, like you're trying to force them to not hit it because they think it's something else, or, playing around something completely different. But if they know it's there, then they will just dunk on it, and you have to be super careful with it. Zoro making Frisk Reel in open team sheet. That's actually so funny. That's pretty amusing. And I would definitely consider it. Wow, that's so goofy. Anyways, yeah, B sounds right for it though. Reuniclus, probably unranked. It's kind of just worse than Hatterene in a lot of contexts. Swanna, Sawsbuck, Amoonguss unranked. in that, like, we're going all the way to the top, baby. Is Amoonguss A, S? What do you think?
I think it's A plus. I think
Okay.
the only reason that it's not up there with Rillaboom and Goldengo is because Rillaboom is also in the format. But if people ever stop disrespecting this mon, it's going to immediately be very, very good again. So I think this mon's really good. It's all every format it's in. It's centralizing. It feels like, you know.
No, I actually don't think sorry, people are talking about Zoro still. I do not think the Bond is scary without like, okay, I saw Len go for like helping hand, hyper voice, Terra normal, like the whole everything, and it like this Dragonite just lived it. It wasn't like multi-scale or assault vest. Like, it's not that giga strong. I don't know. That's the main thing, is like if that mon ever leaves their Pokemon alive, you're just getting board wiped in return. Um but yes, Amoonguss. Back to Amoonguss. I agree with Adi in that, like, there are things around, like, Amoonguss is always going to be held down by its own suffering from success is the best way to, say it. Like, it is such an oppressive Pokemon that would go nuts if allowed to go nuts, and so people are always going to have, their taunts, their safety goggles, their grass types and spore switch-ins, their Electabuzzes, just to beat Amoonguss. But yeah, the mon is still insane because they can't protect all four of their Pokemon at all times, or if they do, you can try to like build your team to punish that, of course. And so, yeah. On top of that, Regenerator, Pollen Puff, we know why Amoonguss is good. Galvantula, unranked, I think. Electros. Now, there's a case for Electros, and that it has. We're gonna put it in another tier, a tier above Jacob tier. It's better than Jacob tier, but below unranked, and that is the no weaknesses tier.
Crazy. Dude, did you know Stellar Terra Electros has no weaknesses?
Yeah, so if you Stellar Terra, this mon actually has no weaknesses. That's kind of insane. Like, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the fact that people are saying that it's community note tier. Yeah.
Wait, why isn't Spiritomb with no weakness here?
There's no electric types in the format, so why are we not using Stellar Terra Electros? Chandelure, I think, is not really that hot in this format. I think I'm going to put it in D. It feels in this format that it's worse than Armarouge and Ceruledge. If you want like a Flash Fire Pokemon or a Flash Fire Trick Room setting Pokemon, so I think both of those kind of outclass it. And then also, I guess we haven't even mentioned Typhlosion if you want a literal Fire Ghost.
Right. It is. I think it's just worse than Typhlosion in almost every context other than like imprisoning Trick Room or something like that.
145 special attack is wild for sure, but
it is Typhlosion that beats Typhlosion. I will give it that.
Right. Haxorus is nothing. Beartic, nothing. Do I have to put Cryogonal on the list, Adi?
If you want to put it in D or something like that, sure.
I'll put it in C, dude. It's Garchomp's best partner, man. People don't realize it. It's got Levitate. You can Earthquake and Ice Move at the same time. It's basically like Mamoswine on the same turn. Like, that sounds broken.
I really don't think it's awful, but yeah, I wouldn't. I think it's very good.
Mienshao. Mienshao usually shines as the power level gets higher. However, I don't think it's like that bad. I think there's a couple of Pokemon that do its job better. Like, Sneasler has another coverage move, Pawmot 2, Lilligant 2. And so, like, you really have to lean in on what this mon is doing best, which is, like, inner focus. That's pretty much it. The fact that you can do something despite fake out. And then also, ignore intimidate. That's cool, but is it cool enough? I feel like it's probably C.
Yeah, I mean, I can see B minus. That's where we've been putting all the guys that are like, this is a good Pokemon. Mienshao is a good Pokemon, but yeah, it just has competition with two other really good fighting types that do very similar things.
Exactly. Okay. Golurk, nothing. Bisharp, yo, Eviolite, Bisharp, hold up. Regular Braviary. Oh, you know what? Regular Braviary I've been seeing used on some sand teams. We will put it
What?
in
Hold up, you gotta send me these sand teams. I cut
right.
my first regional with Braviary Excreal T-Tard, so I gotta see these teams.
It's time to run it back, man. See, this is what I was saying. You don't run Clear Amulet on the Execute Drill because you already have Natural Intimidate counterplay in Braviary. But the Defiant, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to put them on in B minus. We have Star Raptor in here. I think Braviary is better than Star Raptor.
Sure, yeah, I buy that.
But I don't know if I'm. You know what? I'll put Braviary in B for Braviary. I'm okay with that. That mod actually doesn't make me that mad. Like, it's just a little slow is the main thing. Like it's a little slow, and probably a little too frail for its slowness.
So I cut that regional with Seed bulk up Braviary, and I'm telling you, it's coming back. Indeed, Braviary, put that Psychic Seed on it, bulk it up. What are you gonna do?
Okay, Braviary in A for America. Oh man, the other Braviary. This one has what's it called?
Yes,
Tinted Lens.
Tinted Lens, which means that it basically like you can't really resist its attacks, which is actually really really good. The problem is you want to put it next to Indeedee, but then you have to tear a Psychic Gate if you click Expanding Force, right? That's like unresisted Expanding Force is really strong. But yeah, you gotta tear a Psychic Gate, which is very very linear and very coming. Esper Wing heals you, right?
No,
like,
no, that's not it. Esper
no?
Wing
What
is
does Esper Wing do?
+1 speed and also a high crit
Oh.
rate at the same time.
Oh, see, that's pretty good too. Okay,
Yeah.
I can see this mod being okay.
Esper Wing is pretty cool. I'm actually okay with putting this mon in B minus. Yeah, the main thing is that like Psy Spam is already doing well for itself, and so it's not like this mon is going to be able to waltz into the meta and expect to dodge counterplay. But Esper Wing is a really cool move, and you also can like put it on a rain team and go for Hurricane that's unresisted. I've seen this thing one-shot Golden Goes with Life Orb Hurricane. Like it just feels unnatural, but like that's what Tinted Lens is. It's just it's so unnatural. Mandibuzz.
You got thoughts on Mandibuzz? I don't have thoughts on Mandibuzz.
Not much, but I feel like it's good enough to be ranked. I'll put it in D. Hydreigon. Hydreigon's back. Where do you want to put it?
This is another one of the mods that I could see going in A plus or A. I think this mod is it's just like if you want a damage deal, like just a special attacker that you can throw on your team. I feel like it's Goldengo and Hydreigon are just the two that you splash on there. It does. It can be a Dozo answer if you want to run Scope Lens. You could be a Psy Spam counter if you want to run Snarl. It can be a Tailwind user if you need to do that. It is a Levitate user that can Terra, so it can like Wall or Saluna if it needs to do that. It has so many different things it can do. It really is a really strong Pokemon.
Yeah,
I love this Pokemon. I think that A or A plus for sure.
I like it in A. And yeah, I just always talk about the speed tier. Speed tier is very good. It outspeeds Typhlosion even if you run like Timid Max. So you can just Dark Pulse them if they're the choice spec set, and and also resist Eruption at the same time. It's really good. And there's not like that many fairies to like piss it off, especially like with most of the fairies that are good, or the one at Primarina being slower than it, so it can at least like get an attack off before having to get KO'd. Yeah. Anyways, another good one to follow up, Volcarona.
All right, what do you think about Volcarona?
I think Volcarona is excellent and probably also belongs in A tier. It is like a mon that can run multiple sets. I haven't seen a lot of the support set because we have very good like redirection in the format right now. And we don't really need its specific typing for redirection. It's usually better against like, I don't know, certain restricted Pokemon like Caliization or Zamazenta. But the offense set just can run away with games, and it can be very good into slow playing teams. It can be like if your team is relying on like Rillaboom, it'll just like switch in on that and quad resist the Woodhammers, and it can very easily find opportunities to set up with its very weird typing. It definitely has weaknesses, of course, but do you always have those answers on the field? Not necessarily. Yeah, very cool mon.
I agree with all that.
Okay, Chestnut. Chestnut's doing the funny thing with Belly Drum and Drain Punch Grassy Glide. I think I like it. I haven't tried it yet. I want to. It looks fun. I'm down to put it in B minus.
Just Not is notable because it is actually really good into all the top 5 usage Pokemon: Rillaboom, Goldie, Incin, Amoonguss, Arcanine. I think it doesn't. It's not like actually a good Pokemon, but it does happen to beat those 5 Pokemon, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's also not as oh, man, I'm looking at like unaware clef. Like imagine belly drumming and still hitting something for like +0. That's just such a harsh. Yo, Delphox is pretty hype. Delphox did just win local in I think like New York or New Jersey, somewhere over there today.
I heard Chuppa got wiped by Delphox.
Yeah, I watched it earlier on stream and the Mon was looking really cool. I want to say the Mon is not like overwhelmingly strong. But hot take, I could see it being B plus. It's got a great speed tier for an expanding forest Pokemon. So I'm my hot spot would be B plus, but I'm happy to put it in B if you don't want it up there.
Nah, put it in B plus. Let's go with our hot takes.
Let's do it. Okay, Greninja. Nothing really to say about this Mon. The loaded dice, water shuriken, your ape is also haha funny. I'll put it in D.
It's good haze. It's a Dozo answer.
All right, we'll put it in C because that's actually where the Electrode ended up. And yeah, sure. I feel like Mandibuzz is also getting bumped up to C because it's better than Charizard. C for Charizard. Talonflame. Wow, where do we put Talonflame? We put Whim in A plus. Does Talonflame join it there?
No, I think it's A. I think it is worse than Whimsicott. But it's a lot more linear than Whimsicott. Whimsicott can do a lot of different things. Talonflame can click Tailwind, Brave Bird, and then I guess you have like Wisp, Flare Blitz, Taunt, Protect as your last 4, and you get to pick 2 of them. But like, I don't know. Like it is very linear. It's more easy to play around. But yeah, Brave Bird is really strong. It's a very good coverage move. So I don't know. Like I do think it's worse than Whimsicott, but obviously as far as Tailwind goes, I think it's more comparable to Murkrow than it is to Whimsicott.
Right. I'm happy to like kind of have it be the middle ground between Whimsicott and Murkrow. You know, it definitely feels like better overall, but you know, team comp specific. You know, Talonflame allows it to play on slightly more like bulky teams. I feel like if you run that support set, you know, the Wisp Taunt ones, you know, it can be pretty cool. I've been seeing like Rillaboom, Primarina, Talonflame as kind of like a Firewater Grass core in this format that isn't, you know, using Incineroar but playing a little bit differently, relying on Tailwind. But yeah, other than that, let's keep it moving because we still have quite a few guys to get through it. I don't know if we're going to be able to finish.
Yeah.
Vivillon. Vivillon is pretty sick. And I don't know. We've been seeing some people using it, but like, you know, you were talking about the usage numbers on it being pretty low.
It's at like 0.2% usage, but I've seen it in Limitless Tours doing pretty well. As far as like Friend Guard users, and you get Friend Guard and Compound Eyes, so you can either like always hit your Sleep Powders and Hurricanes, which is pretty cool, or you can try to support your partner Pokemon. And yeah, just like the toolkit is really strong. Tailwind, Pollen Puff, Rage Powder, Sleep Powder, Hurricane is a good coverage move. Struggle Bug if you really want to run that. It gets Safeguard. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's got some cool moves. I definitely put it in like B tier probably.
Where did I end up putting it?
Where did you have it in?
B. Yeah, just B.
Mm-hmm.
I found a lot of mons to skip past, so the ones that all just got dumped in there: Pyroar, Florges, Go-Goat, Meowstick, or Meowstick. Dang, we have Meowscarada now, so that was confusing me.
So, my one hot take among these Pokemon, I think Florges, low key, like it's a fairy type. It's got a lot of stats. It's got, the stats are not badly allocated. That one might see some play, right? I don't know.
I'll put it in D. I'll put it in C, I guess. It people don't know what Grassy Veil does. You can prevent your Rillaboom from getting wisped or intimidated. Pretty funny. Anyways. Dragalge, Malamar, Clawitzer, Dedenne, Carbink, Gudra, Trevenant, Avalugg, both forms, Noivern, and Decidueye. Decidueye regular. Sylveon, though. Sylveon probably gets ranked. I've seen people using it. I think it does just often feel worse than Primarina, so I feel like I like it in B-. I don't think people should be really using it over Primarina, but yeah, it does have like a... I don't know. I mean, it hits harder than Dazzling Gleam from Primarina, but Moonblast is really goated. What's it doing?
it gets Terra Blast, and it gets to turn it into whatever type it wants, while also being a fairy type move when you're not stabbed, which when you're not terrored, which is pretty cool. But
It's
I think you really
funky.
need to take advantage of the fairy plus specific type coverage in a way that, because otherwise Primarina is probably just doing it better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Halucha, I don't think that guy gets ranked. I think Sneasler's the better Unburdened
Mm-hmm.
Mon.
Mm-hmm.
Gudra, Archaludon, top dog. What about another Mon of the same typing? I think it is
I,
worse than Arch at being a Steel Dragon, and it's worse at Iron Defense Body Press than Komo.
correct. I agree.
So I feel
But
like
it does have 600 BST,
it does
so
have a lot of
it is
BST,
usable.
so I'll put it in C with those guys. Klefki, in terms of like prankster mons, what do you think?
Um, I guess it's another like green setter, prankster's green setter. In that sense, it is similar to Sableye.
I
And I
agree.
don't think there's anything else that really does that. But yeah, I think it's just a Sableye tier.
Yeah, I
It's
think
the
it
same
has
one.
similar vibes to Sableye, as well. Like it's a prankster Pokemon, but your prankster Pokemon has to be very impactful, in these types of formats. Um, Anyways, the new one of the new goats, Decidueye Hisui. I don't know. It's like not broken or anything, but like the mon is like been impressing people a lot. I feel like I'd probably stick it in B plus. I think
Mhm.
it's not like overwhelming. It's not a mon that you need to like go into the team builder and be like, I need counterplay to this thing. But it's a Pokemon you could put on your team to patch up a certain set of holes, and also, it's all somewhat worth enabling. It's a cool guy.
It gets Haze. It's a Dozo answer. It also gets Tailwind. It's like it's got some cool moves. People are running like Scope Lens on it with Leaf Blade and Triple Arrows, which is also solid. Upper Hand is a cool support move. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's got a lot of different things it could do. And I don't like the idea that you have to fish for crits half the time, especially when you are already immune to Intimidate. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's got a lot of different things to do, and it's got a
And it
very
has haze, so
it's
you don't
got
even need to crit the dozo. So I can stand by that take that scope lens is like funny, but maybe not worth it.
mhm.
Um, Now Primarina, I think Prim is really, really, really good, and I want to put it in A plus. The format really wants a fairy type. It compresses both water and fairy into one type. We haven't had Tapu Fini in a while now, and it's not Tapu Fini. It doesn't have the it's got a punishable defense stat, but you can invest into it. You can Terra out of the weaknesses. You can pair it with an Intimidate. Or you can just run it glass and on offense teams. It can do a lot of different things. And it gets Haze, because Adi's going to mention it gets Haze, so it beats Dozo. Okay. I mean, I'm happy to beat Dozo, so, I'm here for it. I think it's an excellent Pokemon, and I think it belongs in A+. plus.
That's reasonable. I think it straddles the line between A plus and A. I think it's a little overrated right now because it's easy to team build around, but it is a very strong Pokemon, and it's easy to team build around because it's a strong Pokemon. So A
Mm-hmm.
plus is reasonable.
Um, all right, two cannons, a easy skip. Gumshoe, that's the evolution. Chargebug, we just lost Chiyu
Nope.
and Chenpao. How's Chargebug looking? I don't think so.
Nope.
Vikavolt,
Nope.
Crabominable. I saw one team with
Uh,
the Oricorios, Corviknights Volk. Um,
maybe put the Ghost one in D.
I, I'll
It's
I'll do it
usable,
for
right?
that. I'll
But
do it for that. Ribombi, excellent speed tier. It's the fast fairy type. This is the Fluttermane replacement.
because
Why aren't people using it?
it's only got a base 95 special attack stat.
Yeah, I guess.
Uh, yeah. It gets skill swap. It can be part of a dojo answer. I don't know. Yeah, don't use this guy.
I'll put it in C. It's probably not that bad, but not really that good. People are using Lycanroc. They're happy to have their 2/2/2 back. T-Tar, Lycanroc, Psy Spam, and Dozo, or Mouse Ape, whatever. Fit it all together and you're having a grand old time. Does that make them on good? No. I think it's probably B minus in that, like, you're probably better off running Excadrill or no other, like, abuser of the Sandstream. T-Tar can just exist on its own. You don't have to use its ability to support your whole team. Um, so yeah.
Also, Garchomp. Yeah, you can pull in.
True, true, true. The other ones are a skip. Toxapex is a skip. Mudsdale, despite having like inner focus now, I think is a skip. Water, sorry,
Is
Spider.
Arachnid real?
Araquanid?
It feels it's got to be ranked, right? It's a Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it probably ends up in B though. I think that a lot of the water types above it are easier to enable and more worth it. This one has wide guard and could be like a funny trick room answer because it resists eruption. And it's can wide guard on
Hmm.
the expanding forces. It resists, I guess, other
Hmm.
fire moves from Torkoal too. If you're wide guarding, of course, you stop eruption. But
Yeah,
um, yeah, I think B minus is probably an okay place for it.
that
Um,
seems right. It's very niche.
Lurantis is a skip. Salazzle. I saw one person use it early, but now I'm kind of like thinking it's worse than Sneasler and um, Gengar, probably.
It
But
it's just another like fast fake out that you have to put your sash on, right? Like there's so many of them. It's so much competition.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Ooh, Serena is good. Serena is good. It's not like overwhelmingly good. It's not broken good, but it's good. Um, it's probably B or B plus. I haven't seen a lot of it though, so I feel like probably B.
That seems reasonable.
Um, yeah, okay.
I do think that I ran Serena Arcaludon at Vancouver Regionals. I think it does that pretty cool with loaded dice and or hit your own Arcaludon and stuff. But yeah, blocking priority is always good, but blocking priority is not as high a priority I think as it will be in the future. So I think it's only going to get better.
Um,
Yo, Sableye, thank you for the raid. How's it going, Ryan? Hope you had a good stream.
Thank you guys for coming through. We're finishing up our Reg H tier list. I technically have coaching in like 10-ish minutes, but I'm just gonna tell them I'm gonna be a little bit late. And we'll make sure we finish out because we're getting later in the generations, and now like all the good mons are coming up, so we'll have something to say about them. Um,
uh,
Sorry, I'm just typing that message now, but let's go ahead and continue with it. Hope it was a good
okay.
stream though. Definitely look forward to some in-game streams from us later this week as well. We're gonna finally start playing the ladder now that it's live.
Yo,
Comfey.
so Comfey is bad. You'd think it has all the tools to be good with like the Lost Box setup where you have Sableye, you have Rillaboom, you have Incineroar, like all the stuff that it could do with screens, and setting up some tower was really good. The problem is there's no tower worth setting up. The only tower worth setting up is Annihilate, and Annihilate is better off just doing its thing and ramping with, or at least threatening to ramp with beat up right now, right?
Yeah,
And so I think like it is viable. I wouldn't put it in unclassified, but like yeah, it's C or D tier.
Volcarona in B tier is wild. It wasn't in B tier. It's in A. Sorry, I guess maybe you thought it was SAB. We have like all kinds of pluses and stuff because there's a lot of Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Oranguru. Is probably C tier. Or yeah, C. I think it's like I think it's like always the like win more mod, Like you never really need it, but if you really want to like have a funny match where you're doing way too much damage with Blood Moon or Torkoal, haha, do it.
There are like 800 different ways to build a hard trick room team that is worse than the existing hard trick room team, and this is one of them.
Yep, I agree. Palossand, no. Kamala. That's actually what that Mon's name is, right? It's like
Yeah,
oh, okay. Um,
is
Mimikyu.
Mimikyu good?
I I don't really think so. It's a fairy ghost. Wait, we found Fluttermane. We did it. We found Fluttermane. Its speed tier is really good. Its ability has always like been very strong and solid. Um, but like, what is it doing? What is it enabling? I think you could maybe run like a Swords Dance set with just like play rough, sneak, and who knows, protect, taunt, whatever. And it would be workable. Would it be worth it? That's the real thing.
Yeah. We ran it back in series 1. I think it's just gotten worse since then.
Bruxish goes in D tier because its ability is cool, but that's it. Ooh,
Yeah.
Coma.
All right. This mod I think is very real. I think that I'm currently at about looks like a little under 5% usage, but I think it is probably better than that. And I think that also people are using it wrong. Like why are half the people using throat spray on it, man?
Well,
No,
the
it's just the best.
Soul set.
Yeah, but like I think it's just the best body press mod in the format, and that's really what its niche is.
Mm-hmm.
And that is always really really good, especially as if we start to see instant Rilla type teams come up more and more. It's going to be really good there just because it totally walls that stuff. And then also it has 3 different abilities, all of which have utility. Right, you can entirely wall Goldengo if you want to with bulletproof. And Terra, of course, you can use soundproof to try to wall Primarina again with Terra, or
Or Blood
Overcoat to deal with
Moon,
the
you
Mungus.
know.
So and Blood Moon too. Sort of, not exactly, right? Because it can still Earth Power or
Of
Blood
course,
Moon
of
you.
course. You don't wall it, but it's helpful.
But yeah, whereas Terra Steel, I think, you actually do wall Primarina, which is pretty cool if you're soundproof. So yeah, and then Overcoat, of course, beats Amoonguss. So like, no matter what the metagame looks like, no matter what you need your body press mon to do, it can probably do it. And I think that's what it really shines at.
Yeah, I think both the I honestly think that the Clanger's Soul set is not too bad either, but I think that I like the Iron Defense Body Press one better too. And so I have it currently in A minus, because it's probably not gonna be put on every team, not splashable, but just good. Like, I think it's just good. Okay. Next up we have Cinderace as a skip. Same with Inteleon. And Greedent. Corviknight. We did mention Corviknight in the tweet. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put Corviknight.
So
I'll put it in B minus. I think people shouldn't be using them on that much, but it's like got a unique set of things that it is like, okay. What do you probably have more to say? Go ahead.
I agree. It's just like it has we were doing this and we are like, what if we just rank things by usage and then we cut it off at some point? And the problem was that Corviknight was always in our rankings because Corviknight is at like 1.5% usage. That's higher than some Pokemon like Araquanid that we talked about, Weezing that we talked about, like Chandelure. I don't know. Like there's some decent Pokemon down here that it's getting more usage than. And I just don't know what it does. Like, why are you body pressing with it? I guess it gets Tailwind, but like, are you winning the game with Corviknight? It's just, it feels like there's too much stuff that threatens it and doesn't have enough stats to really do what it needs to do.
Yeah, it's just always, it's a stat problem. It's like kind of like the same exact issue with like the Rotom forms, but I think it shines a little bit more because its typing is like really excellent. And its ability is good too. And Brave Bird is just really nice, like it unresisted or unintimidatable Brave Bird. Pretty cool. Yeah, maybe Alberto can make this mod work. Anyways, why is Braviary in B and Hisui in Braviary? Hisui Braviary is in B minus because there's a lot of expanding force already, and so people are going to be very ready for expanding force type stuff. And you have to Terra it, and Terra Hogs are a little bit hard to use in this format. Regular Braviary is up there in B because B for Braviary. If you want the actual explanation, the video's on YouTube. No, I could mention it, but like I don't know. It's just like
No, that's fine. Watch the VOD.
watch the VOD. Dreadnought, skip. Colossal, skip. Flapple, skip. Appleton, skip. Ooh, we got a lot of skips. Sandaconda, skip. Cramorant, skip. Barraskewda. I had to think about your name for a second. Skip. Toxtricity, skip. Just kidding. Adi wants to talk about Toxtricity.
I think Toxtricity. I mean, the forms are kind of the same now because of the mints, but like I think Toxtricity is like pretty decent, right? I mean, obviously, or it does a lot of damage. And did you know that its ability is also sort of soundproof? Like it reduces sound move damage. So it's really really good into Primarina. At least. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's got a good. Its thing is actually it does not have a great special attack stat, but it's a good enough special attack stat with Punk Rock to really throw some damage out there and a very unique typing. And there's not a ton of ground moves in the format, so I think it's not the worst Pokemon, but yeah, definitely a very niche pick.
Yeah, I'll put it in B minus because like it feels like the same-ish like strength of Corviknight, Salazzle, Araquanid. Yeah, there's like I almost want like 2 tiers between B minus and like C plus, but like there's just too many Pokemon. Because like Clefairy feels definitely like better, but also not. Wait, this is Poltegeist. Why they switched the names for the different form one, it always bothers me, Sinnoh is the baby one. Okay. Hatterene. Hatterene, a very crucial part of the Psy-Spam Trick Room teams, and this mon, unlike Gallade, I'm not going to try to convince you on other contexts. This is a mon that is doing one thing, doing it well, but doing one thing.
Yep. It is right next to Lilligant and Delphox, and it's put it on the exact same teams as Lilligant.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that sounds about right for it. B+, because it's doing well. Grimmsnarl, probably the best of the prankster, like, screen setting options that you have available to you. It's better than Klefki and Sableye because it has like slightly better stats. Is that worth doing? I think Screens is kind of dog, but I'll put it in B.
Hmm.
It's funny because like
Like,
Screens are like at their worst when there's no Urshifu to crit through them, but it's still, I don't know. Is it worth it? Nah.
and well, so you're also talking about, hey, I want Primarina because I want a fairy type. This guy's got a base 120 attack stat and Spirit Break. That's
It's true.
not the worst. The problem is that Spirit Breaking your the Annihilates is not very good. Whereas Moonblasting them is a little better, or at least threatening Moonblast is a little better. But I think that yeah, it is a real Pokemon. It's got a lot of different moves it can use. It's not just limited to clicking screens. If you ever need a Prankstermon, that isn't Whimsicott, right? That can do some other stuff. It's got cool moves. It's got Parting Shot. It's got Thunder Wave. It's got taunt. I guess what it also has taunt. It's got Fake Out if you need to use Fake Out. So yeah, it's got a lot of cool different things it can do.
Ooh, Stony J can go in D tier. I don't think he's very
Whoa,
good.
whoa, Frostmoth. Frostmoth might be a Pokemon too. I think that guy. I don't know. Maybe.
I'll put it in D tier. I'll put it in D tier.
Yeah,
Um,
it's got tools.
Alcremie. We were talking about it when we were talking about Smeargle, and
Hmm.
I feel like it's probably B minus. It's not clearly like strong, but it does have a cool niche in anti-spore and decorate, both of those being very cool things for it. But yeah, you gotta
Yep.
like the two times that no, I guess the one time that we saw Alcremie do well was actually like from us, or like well, it did okay in the Dynamax era.
Hmm.
Um, but basically, just we're not playing with Dynamax anymore, so it's still a little bit harder to make this mon work. Like you have to like get speed control for it because it's so middle of the road. Like it's 60 speed something, so like it needs Tailwind or it needs Trick Room. It can't just exist. Or can it? It's a slower format maybe, but regardless, it's just a fine mon.
Yeah. The reason that I said that this is a better decorate user than Smeargle is because the Pokemon that I really want to decorate are Porygon 2, because it sits on the field forever, and Ursaluna, because then you just murder things. And both of those are normal types. And so I really don't want I want the fairy type next to it because it, hits fighting types. It has Dazzling Gleam. It hits and then it can, switch a little better. So and then also I guess Farigiraf is the next mon that it has a lot of usage with, and that's another normal type. So yeah, I think that it's probably usable, but if you want to decorate mon, I think it's better than Smeargle.
We'll definitely tier the Indeedee forms differently. So let's start with the male Indeedee. You've used this one more than a lot of people, I think. So
Me?
I
I used
thought,
this back in Series 5 in 2020, and I don't think I've touched it since then.
oh really? Okay, okay.
Um, but I was confused as to why it has like 1% usage. I feel like this mod is just worse than the other one.
It's got a very solid speed tier, as I like to keep mentioning. It outspeeds all the annoying guys. And it gets imprisoned with expanding force. Which the other one
Yes,
doesn't,
yeah.
but I don't know if I don't like imprison strats usually anyways. I'm happy to put this mon in B though. I think it's actually like pretty good. Like the expanding force psychic terrain like hits really hard, and it's just one mon that does it. And usually the other ones like you have to either have two mons or you're going a trick room route and two mons. Like it is kind of a self-contained package, so it's
The
neat.
the most common set is Expanding Force, Trick Room, Dazzling Gleam, and Prison, which means that the people who use it just really hate Hatteran.
Oh,
I think that's the
absolutely.
that's the
They
takeaway.
hate Trick Room. People are running this because like Shy Spam makes me so angry. Like that's it. That is like all of its usage. Indeedee female, very very good, and I'm wondering how high we go with it. Everyone knows what it does. There's a lot of like expanding force is really back in this format. It was doing well in Reg G, of course, but um, there's like a lot of ways that this mon can go now. Where do you think it lands? A?
If I think it's A plus minimum.
All right.
I think it enables. I think it's just like in terms of mouse ape counters, it is probably the most straightforward, easiest to use mouse ape counter. It's good into Rillaboom. I mean, it's also sort of bad into Rillaboom, but like I think it's good into Rillaboom. It's good into all the fake out mons. It's like not even all that bad into Goldengo because they have to click Make It Rain and you can punish that. Like yeah, it just does everything, and then also it enables one of the strongest archetypes in Spam. Like this guy's it enables every setup Pokemon. Like pick your favorite setup mon and you can put it next to Indeedee and you're probably okay, and you don't have to worry about fake out. Like oh my god,
A lot of
this mod
priority
is
in this
nuts.
format. A lot of priority in this format. So I feel like I'm okay with putting it in S. It could be our second S tier mon. And like, you know,
I
it looks a little bold, but like I like it. I like it, you know.
well, that's how I like I like my DDs bold.
That's
So
true.
yeah,
They're always
I'm
bold,
down.
dude. If you ever catch me not running 252 bold in DD, like that's not me. That's the imposter. Morpico, that guy's coming to go, dude. They added a whole trailer for that. I don't know. That was so weird.
That
Cufit.
was.
And I called that the baby one. That's not Cufit. That's Kaparasha. Um, then Duraludon, no, those guys are not worth talking about. But Dragapult, very good. Morpeko is in the game? Yeah, I guess so. I don't even know. I mean, it's never done anything, but it's in the game. Dragapult. Okay. This mon, super, super good. It's basically like the new speed ceiling. Sorry, Electrode. You know, you have to like cut it off somewhere in terms of like viability, and Dragapult is the strongest fast Pokemon.
Yeah.
And strong it is. I feel like it's probably A. I don't know if it's necessarily like I would almost put it A plus because of how good this mon can be, but it has some humps that it has to overcome. Like Steel is very back. There are very good Steel types and some solid fairy types, especially Clefable. Just clicking Follow Me on darts and you're pretty miserable. Clicking Terra Ghost Blast. There's a lot of normal types like the Ursalunas that can just make your life really sad, and Indeedee too. So I don't really know. I don't really know what made it better than what it was, or like what happened, what changed since Reg A, but like maybe it's just like the things that it can be stuck next to. I really like it next to Electabuzz personally after trying that one team out, but yeah, I think it's very good.
Forgot that it was in Reg A. So I think that my take is that it is way better in closed team sheet than open team sheet. In open team sheet, almost everyone's running the choice band set, it seems like, at least from what I can get from usage stats. Whereas in closed team sheet, it actually is really scary. I've seen choice band, I've seen choice specs, I've seen focus sash, I've seen people running screens on it. You can click beat up or a sucker punch to proc a weakness policy. Like it can really do what it's another one Pokemon where like it can do a lot of different things. And when it's open team sheets and you know what it's doing, I think it's a little less threatening. It is pretty linear, like you said. It does really struggle with steel types, but when it's closed team sheet and you don't know what it's trying to do, I think it can get really, really scary.
That sounds right. And yeah, we'll be seeing it in a closed team sheet context very soon, whenever that grand challenge comes up. All right, we can skip. We've made it to some of the Hisui mons.
Ooh.
We've got Weirdeer. I don't think Weirdeer there's much to say about. Cleavor probably unranked as well, and now we've got regular.
Okay, I don't know if Cleavor's unranked. Cleavor, like, I don't know. Cleavor has a kit. Cleavor has some stats. Its Stone Axe is a cool move. I don't know. I wouldn't. Tailwind's cool. Quick Guard. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily run it, but I think it's got at least something it can do.
I'll put it in D. It's like it's never felt scary when I played against it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also looking at this list, and I swear I'm not seeing Ursaluna Blood Moon.
Oh, that's a big one.
That is a big one. I can always import an image. I have all the like sprites saved from streaming locals, but I don't think I'm seeing it. All right, let's keep running. Ursaluna. Yeah, it is missing. Okay, I'll add that at one end. Hopefully nothing else is missing. Ursaluna regular though. This mod is very good, but it needs help. It almost always needs help. And I feel like I'd probably put it in B plus because of that. But I'd be willing to hear A minus because like it is worth investing in.
I think it's A minus. I think that it is just by the best Trick Room sweeper ever. And you always have to respect it. I think that you can go Turbo Bear if you want to. I think that you don't have to commit to. Like, it enables every type of Trick Room team, not just the hard Trick Room team. You can run it with Porygon 2 or with Dusclops, and it's pretty good. You can run it on a sort of Tail Room team, and it's still pretty good. And yeah, I just think this mod has too many stats, man. It's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's A minus, yeah.
Okay. Basket Legion is looking pretty cool now. That mon has been doing very solid for itself. It's probably like A minus because it feels like the exact same kind of thing as Typhlosion. Worth investing in, but you do have to, run it. I guess there's like also the Scarf adaptability set that people are running too. But that doesn't feel. It's just very good, but not like overwhelmingly broken. Like every team needs like a bunch of counterplay to it. It's just like really good. And so I feel like the mon probably exists in A minus as well. Very good, but not like on every team good.
Yep, completely agree.
Sneasler's been cool and popping off lately. A lot of people are starting to like gather behind this mon.
I am a Sneasler fan. I think Sneasler is part of why I put Indeedee in S tier is because you can either Rillaboom or Indeedee can enable Sneasler. And you don't even have to run a Terrain Setter if you don't want to. The Focus Sash is also a perfectly viable set as well. But yeah, it's when I was talking about like the fast fake out mons, it does face some competition for that role, but like it also doesn't have to do that. It has a second thing it can do. The Swords Dance set is really strong. If your opponent ever gives you a free turn, you can punish them for that. Dire Claw is a crazy overtuned move. I mean, it does add a little bit of variance to the game. You never really know what you're going to get, and it can screw you over sometimes depending on your partners. But fighting poison coverage is like low key, really, really strong.
Yeah.
And then it's just got one flex slot that it can do whatever with: coaching, taunt, U-turn, rock slide. I mean, I'm just looking at the list; it gets everything.
It does get so yeah, and like Dire Claw also just being this like 1 in 6, not 1 in 16, a 16% chance to just sleep you. Like, man, why do I have to deal with this? Like, you will just instantly lose a game for taking a Dire Claw resisted because, oh, whoops, I got slept. Okay. So I put it in A minus. Does that seem right for it?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Meow Meow. Meowscarada is kind of back. Where does that one go?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I feel like
think
it's
you played
probably
more
B
Meowscarada than I have.
plus because like it contests like better grass types like Rillaboom and Amoonguss, and um yeah, other than that, like I could say it's like, probably a top 5 grass type, but it's definitely not like a top 2 grass type. And so, it fits on certain offensive teams, and the pledge thing is really cool. But and like its speed tier is very good. But I also feel like it's not that hard to deal with. Like it's not impossible to deal with or anything. It also did get triple axle now, which is cool, but anyways.
Mm-hmm. I like B plus for it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, there's so many fast, strong Pokemon that need your Focus Sash. This one doesn't need your Focus Sash. It can run some other sets, but like that's kind of this. It fills a lot of the same roles.
I skipped Skeledirge,
That
Oinkologne, Spidops, low kicks.
so we shouldn't skip Skeledirge because it also is one of those Pokemon that has usage. And hey, it's a Dozo answer. Yeah,
Hey, okay,
right.
we shouldn't skip it. I should put it intentionally in B. This thing is so bad.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Um,
And I see Mike saying in chat Sneasler is A, which I honestly could agree with too. If we're doing our hot takes, I think Sneasler could be A.
I'm down with that. Somebody said Gengar is overrated. I don't know. I think it's good.
This is our takes. Hey, you can make your own tier list, man.
That's true.
We
Quackwaval.
we like Gengar.
Quackwaval's going in A plus. So
Quackwaval,
sorry, you guys are gonna have to just deal with that. It's the second best water type.
So again, everything I said about fighting water coverage in Tauros, if you've been watching the entire time, first off, thank you so much. Like 2 hours later. But yeah, I think that it is the same thing, except that it also gets Brave Bird, so it can also hit the grass type. So I think it is like low key not bad. That being said, no, it's not an A tier. I'm sorry. It's if you really want to be Homer, you could put it in B plus, but like realistically, I think it's B.
I'll put it in B. Tell me where she.
It gets Moxie, so it can boost its attack stat. Aqua Step lets it boost its speed stat. Like, I don't know, you take a KO with Aqua Step, and all of a sudden you just got a Dragon Dance off too.
All right. Next up, Palmot. Palmot's very good, and we talked about like how there's not a lot of electric types. I think that Palmot is like really good on a lot of teams. There are a lot of Pokemon that are worth bringing back with a Revival Blessing. Honestly, I'm mainly looking at like ghost types, like Dragapult and Golden Go and like a Scarf Basket Legion. Bringing any of those mons back with Revival Blessing is really cool. And even if it's like, Revival Blessing doesn't work a lot in even if it doesn't work a lot in practice, it's like one of the strongest moves to have in open team sheet because your opponent can't just double protect to stall your Tailwind turn, for example. We've had Urshifu in so many formats where, protecting on the Tailwind turns wasn't super viable if they're hitting you through Protect, but now it's good to have moves that, capitalize on protecting to stall Tailwind or anything else like that, where, if they're going for an obvious double Protect on your Fake Out turn as well, Revival Blessing is a great punish to that.
Yeah.
So all that said, I feel like I like it in A. I don't know. It's a good mod, but it could be A minus. Is it better than all the ones below it? Probably.
That's the thing.
It could be A minus. I think it's probably A minus.
I think it's A minus just because, again, it's just another one of those Pokemon. You only get one of these where you get to put your Focus Sash on it, and it's a fast Fake Out or a fast attacker. It does something very different than a lot of these other ones do, which is really cool. But like at the end of the day, like it is sort of fighting for the same niche, and Sneasler does a lot of the same things, and I think Sneasler is better. And then we talked about all the other like fast guys that need your Focus Sash, and then you don't get to run Palm Out on those teams. So yeah, I like A minus.
Next up is Mousehold in A minus. I think that guy seems pretty good here. Both of the sets have their strengths. And so I like that mon there.
I think it might be A, honestly.
A? Yeah, I'd buy that. I'm down with A.
Like the pop-up set hits hard, and it also enables what is one of the best mons in the format in Annihilate, right? The format is like literally I feel like the format has warped around the mouse ape combo so much that we have to put a little bit of respect next to it.
Yep. Yeah, I can accept that. Here we go. I'm just making this happen now. Yeah. Blood Moon has been added.
Okay. I did say that it's going to, I also think it's going to underperform for what it's worth. I think people are going to target it down, but like that just in the same way that like Amoonguss gets targeted down and underperforms. I think it's that good.
Garg has been used by some people and probably should be ranked. I don't think it's good though. I think it probably goes in B minus. I think people are using it, and the wide guard set is cool. I guess you can resist ghost moves. There's a lot of ghosts. I feel like there's only like one ghost move that's really that scary, and that's like Rage Fist. Last Respects, I guess, to an extent, but you might just get wave crashed. So I don't know.
I'm interested in this Pokemon. I have not had a chance to use it. I haven't seen a lot of it, but in theory, if you Terra Water it, you do get to beat both Goldie and Basket Legion on different teams, right? So that's not awful. Yeah.
That's
pretty cool.
A little bit strapped for move slots sometimes. But anyways, Armarouge. Armarouge probably goes right next to Hatterene. They often fill similar roles. I don't think it's like, I think it's probably better because Flash Fire is really good and it resists Make It Rain as well. Hatterene usually has to Terra Fire to take those moves. But it also comes with its own set of like downsides. It has to deal with its coverage. Like there's trade-offs, I guess, and then Spore and stuff. So it definitely, if this was a closed team sheet tier list, it would be miles above Hatterene. That's true. Ceruledge, Adi, what do you think of this guy?
I think Ceruledge is pretty good. As far as, again, it's a setup mon. It plays at a very different pacing, but like as far as Protect the Towers guys go, right? Like it's Annihilate, but then like why wouldn't you just run Mouse Ape? And then Volcarona, which is a special attacker, and so I think that Volcarona and Ceruledge kind of fill a similar type of niche on opposite sides, except the difference is instead of having to click Giga Drain, you get to click Bitter Blade, which is a really, really strong move, and especially into a lot of the mons that are really good right now, like Rillaboom, Goldengo, Amoonguss, is pretty good. Downside, of course, being that it does suck into it's not great into Annihilate, and it's not great into Rain, and so it does have some weak matchups, but as a matchup mod, I think it's quite strong.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna put it in B tier as a mod that needs a good amount of support, but can have some solid payoff.
I don't think it's outclassed by anything, and that's important.
Yeah, it does do something unique. Belly Bolt and Kilowatt Roll are skips. Mabostiff is skipped. Grafai is skipped. Bramblegast. I did see like a team topped ladder with this. I'm happy to put it in the same tier as Ceruledge that we just talked about here. Man, these are two ghost types I just realized that weren't making the ghost type list. There's a lot of good options if you want a ghost type. And yeah, Bramble doesn't love like Incineroar being like a Pokemon again. It's too easy to just switch that thing on it, despite it having like Poltergeist now. But if they don't have like Intimidate, it will just one-shot you. Like Tailwind, Terra Ghost, like you're gonna get wiped. But as soon as it sees an Intimidate, it's pretty sad. And if it's not running Focus Sash, it's getting OHKO'd so easily. And there's not like a lot of wind moves like Bleak Wind Storm or something to switch in on and take advantage of. Icy Wind is also a lot less common because of uh, and even Heat Wave, I feel like, is slightly less common too. Chi-Yu's gone,
Mhm.
Flutter's gone, Bundle's gone. So,
That's
it
the
does have to
thing.
rely on inaccurate moves. Go ahead, Adi.
It still does the very strong linear like attacking combo that it always has done, which is makes it viable. But like the defensive tools that it had, the disruptive tools that it had in that it beat like Iron Bundle and stuff like that, it beat Tornadus and stuff like that, doesn't really exist anymore. And so I do think it's only B tier.
We skipped Toadscruel, Cloth, Scovillain, and Espathra. Tinkaton I quickly slapped in D because it probably has a lot of usage. People love this thing. I don't think it's
Um,
good.
okay, we do have to talk about Kilowatt Troll because that guy is also above 1% usage for some reason. People will do literally anything for an electric type.
I guess that's really it. I'll put it in D.
I don't know
Um,
why the mod's bad.
all right, Palafin, another bad mod. How low can we put this guy without upsetting everybody?
um, B plus I think is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, bro, I'd put it in B. I'd do it. I hate this thing. I just don't respect it in the slightest. I think it's outclassed by all the other water types. Um, and a lot of people keep yelling at me for this take. Um, I heard that like somebody did take Sanvi's team and top the ladder with it, so like I feel like I look at that and I'm just like, good job, Dragapult. Like you carried Palafin to this result, because like I don't know, man.
People think B plus is too high. I don't know. So notably, it has the awkward problem where it only really has water coverage. And then if you're using another move, it is close combat, which I just mentioned two other water types that do close combat better, right? So that is an awkward part. But at the end of the day, this is a low power level format, and you get to use a 670 BST level Pokemon, right? Like 680. I don't forget what it is, but like it has a lot of stats, and people are going to find a way to use it, I think.
Yeah, people will try to make it work, and they'll find some success with it eventually. I gotta talk about Earthworm. Earthquake has never felt worse to click. There's like quite a lot of flying types. Rillaboom is like number one. And it lost its best friend in Ting Lu. I think this Mon is just not able to play the game. I'm gonna put it in C. I love you, Earthworm, but yeah, it's not your time. So sad. It was Blood Moon, I know. Um,
It is
Glamora.
Tinglu back.
Glamora is excellent. So scary on lead. And because there's still like almost every format just has so many physical attackers, even if it never feels like it's 50-50, even though maybe it sometimes is. Um, getting rid of a Glamora without activating toxic spikes can be a difficult task, and yeah, always having to play around the meat beam, and it's in vast coverage. It's essentially Landorus incarnate, in that way, Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, but also a Meteor Beam. I don't think the Mon's better than A plus or like an A plus, but I think it's A. I think it's super good.
I like that. Yeah, it is very strong. It does have a crippling weakness to Goldengo, is the one big downside. But other than that, it is a very, very strong mon. And of course, enabling the Dondozo Tatsugiri combo so well is a big bonus as well.
Yeah, we haven't even ranked that stupid fish yet. Flamigo, I'm willing to put Flamigo. I saw somebody using it, and I was like, wait, why are we not using this thing? It has it can be fast, and it has Scrappy, so you can just punch the Golden Ghost. Like, people are doing that with Decidueye, and I was like, wait, this thing actually outspeeds Golden Go and can do it. This is lit. I don't think it's like that easy to use, but I'm happy to put it in B minus.
So it is at 1% usage, which I was really surprised by. I thought that was just a Dozo thing. But no, it's actually not usually used with Dozo. You're right. It just is because it is actually really good into Goldengo and in Cineroar and Rillaboom. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mod might be slept on goaded. So Titan is a skip, Veluza is a skip, Dondozo is a skip because they're gonna ban that Pokemon from all tournament play. It's slowing down the rounds too much. It's just actively bad for live tournament play. I don't know if you guys heard that. I might have leaked that, but yeah, that announcement hasn't come out yet, but it'll be on one of the top takes eventually.
Wait,
Uh,
are they gonna unban it when they fix the bug where Dondozo eats the Tatsugiri and not the other way around?
That's the bug. Um, the bug is that they should never have put this in the game. Anyways, Dondozo is an excellent strategy. There's a lot of counterplay to it, and so like I think it's still super super good. I'm gonna put Tatsugiri right next to it because they are just played together. And like solo Dozo, I'm sorry you're not getting tiered.
Wait,
It's
where are you putting it?
I'm putting it in A minus. I think.
Really? That seems low.
Yeah,
This
you
is
want it higher? You want to say it's A?
again. I've literally spent the entire stream yelling out every single Dendozo answer, and there's a lot of them, but like this mod is good, man. This mod is so centralizing in so many formats until even after we got Fluttermane, it was centralizing. I mean, there you have to have a check, and then even then, you're not guaranteed to beat it. There are so many
I
different
agree.
sets you can run. Like you can put Tatsugiri in A minus and Dozo in A because Dozo has some applications outside of just with
No,
Tatsugiri, I
they go
guess.
next to each
But
other every time. Every time.
sure. But yeah, no, I think Dozo is just centralizing enough that it has to be an A, and it's such a strong build around that it has to be an A.
Okay. So now we have a couple. We're on the home stretch here, and Annihilate, a very good Pokemon, but I also think that it's a bit of a gimmick sometimes that you can definitely like play around. And so I don't think it's higher than A. I would say it's A minus or A. Which one are you thinking?
Also think it's A. I think it's in the same boat as the Dozo Tatsugiri, where in the same way that Dozo Tats has, you literally we call it cup check, where you have to have your answer to Dozo Tats and you have to have your answer to Mouse Ape. They at the moment the format is built around can you beat those two combos, and you don't even consider a team until you consider how you can beat those two combos. On top of that, I think Annihilate is even better because even if you don't have a mouse hold, you can still run it, right? We talked about the comp based team. Obviously, that's a little more gimmicky, but we saw a lot of different types of bulk up Annihilate teams. I know I ran Assault Vest Annihilate at NAIC in 2023. It's just a really, really good Pokemon with a very good typing and a like Rage Fist, Drake Punch is a really, really bulk up is a really, really strong combination, even if you don't get to proc yourself. You don't have to run mouse hold to proc yourself. There's a million different ways to set this guy up. It's immune to fake out. It beats Intimidate. They can't drop your like. It just does so many things. It's such a good Pokemon. I can't see it lower than A. Even if Mouse Ape falls off, I think Annihilate's worth here.
I agree with the buy here. It says I feel like a lot of teams are better into Mouse Ape than Dozo right now. I think Mouse Ape doesn't feel that bad, and a lot of my teams have felt good into it. And so somebody said B plus. I probably would have gone down to A minus if we're talking about Mouse Ape, but I want to leave it in A because I think that the Final Gambit set is way too good and slept on, and that set is like so annoying because it can force some really uncomfortable situations and like making very controlled and intent like making trades within like I don't know, forcing trades, I guess is the word. Can be really uncomfortable, like people have to pick something that they know that they won't be able to use for the rest of the game. And if they choose wrong, then you might be able to just win with something that you wiped out the counter to. It's an awesome mod. And yeah, of course, closed team sheet, it would be ass. Fari Giraffe is as low as I can put a reasonable Pokemon, probably B. Like, I don't think it's the best on Trick Room teams anymore. They're like doing stronger, scarier things. On the Tailwind teams, it's not active enough for anti-priority. I feel like I'd rather have a Serena, even though I guess Serena's here in the same tier. And Indeedee is also just doing very well for anti-priority. So, but it just feels so do nothing when it's on the field. You can use the throat spray set, but that also takes a turn to get going. Eh.
I agree. It is at 12% usage somehow, and I don't know why. I think this mod is like bad.
It's very bad.
Like it definitely is going to have some season play. It definitely has a niche, but like I don't think it's very good.
Now, where does King Gambit go? A plus, right?
Oh, for sure.
Is it
Easy.
S? It's not S, right?
Like you could make the argument, but the argument is mostly because it is so good into Goldengo. Because I don't think it's like I don't think it's an S tier Pokemon on its own merits. I think it's an A plus tier Pokemon on its own merits, but it does do really well into two of the best Pokemon in the format. I guess the reason I'd leave it in A plus is because I think that there are a lot of fighting types, a lot of focus sash fighting types, a lot of just like body press mons, coverage moves. Like there's a lot of things that threaten it, and so it is a little harder to position it than some of the other steel types.
Okay, how about Baxcalibur, dude? This mon was good in some of the other formats, but I don't think it really cuts it right now. I feel like there's still like a lot of hostility towards it.
Yeah.
So
It's
many
gonna see
steel
play.
types walling it. That's tough. Prim walls it. Um, Golden Go is just like so annoying for it. Everything's annoying for this mon.
The metagame is very hostile for it
I
right
feel like
now.
I'm putting it down in B for Excalibur.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Golden Go. S?
Yes. Yep, no doubt. It might be the best Pokemon of the format. I think if it's not Rillaboom, then it's Goldie.
I do think though the nasty plot sets don't feel that good. I think the spec set is just excellent and is just so oppressively annoying. The nasty plot sets don't bother me, so I think this one goes S.
I think the nasty plot leftover sets don't bother me. I think those are easy enough to beat. But the metal coat sets are a little more annoying.
Yeah, or
That's
Life
the level of damage that I think it needs to win after one nasty plot.
Right, right.
Or Life Orb. I guess Life Orb also does the same thing.
Yep, yep. Sinistra. Sinistra probably B minus with like Garganacl and these guys. It's like good at enabling certain gimmicks, but not that splashable.
I could even see it in B. This mod is at 5% usage, which is a lot higher than a lot of these mods.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I'm looking at like what it does. It's like there's a lot of Pokemon that can do things like Rage Powder, Trick Room. We see a lot of grass types with self strength sap, surprisingly. But I don't know. I think it's a good mod.
Let's save these good 2-1s for the last two. What about Hydrapple?
What about Hydrapple? That's a good question. What do you think about Hydrapple? Do you
think
ever think about Hydrapple?
I think it goes in C. I don't know what it does. I can't think of a single thing. It has Fickle Beam, which is like funny half the time.
Listen, it's got a base 120 expected value dragon move. That's pretty good, right?
Yep.
It gets Pollen Puff. That's something. If you really don't want to run a Moongus, I don't know. There's so many good dragon types in this format. It does get regen, but
would you say
yeah,
Arch is A plus or A?
I think that's hard. It's right on the borderline because I do think that Rain is a little overrated right now, and I don't think Rain. I think the Rain is a combination of Pokemon that is so powerful together. But Arch does see play outside of Rain. I could see it either way. What do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe A plus because people are using the the Power Herb Electro Shot set, and it also has like Stalwart. It has Sturdy. There are other ways to play this mon. That means that you can't just have like a single solution to it, and that can be really difficult, especially with it having multiple viable Terra types and incredible stats. It is one of the like best mons for stat checking the format. Who would have thought that King Gambit and Archaludon here stat checking the format being Pokemon that got like fully evolved Pokemon that just got another evolution on top of it. Like crazy. Lastly, Blood Moon. I think Blood Moon I'm also like feeling not that controversial. A plus. I feel like that's pretty reasonable for it. It's not as broken as like maybe we thought originally, but it's super annoying. And I wouldn't want to put it in A. I think that it is one of the first things like you will realize you're weak to when you queue up a game into it and just get wiped.
That's fair. I think I had the same impression. I thought it would be the best Pokemon in the format, other than maybe Rillaboom and Sinnoh, and it has not been that. It's been very disappointing when I've tested it. Just because, again, I think there's a lot of fighting types, and there's a lot of different Pokemon that can randomly tear out a wallet. That being said, it is still the power of the format. It's the strongest thing in the format, and yeah, I think that means it has to be an A plus, just because. And also, like, you could bring it against basically anything, right? It's going to do something. It's going to hit hard. So yeah, I like it an A plus.
Then I think that's everybody. I hope nobody else was missing from the list. I'll probably post the actually no, I'm not gonna post the list on Twitter because then we gotta get people to go to the YouTube video. So
Right. Yeah.
So anyways, here's the end of the video where you have a very clean look at this tier list. So welcome to the end of the video for the people that skipped through everything.
Hello. Thank you for not watching.
Thank you for not watching. I know you're here for this.
I'll even put a timestamp for you.
Click here if you don't want to hear us talk.
Listen. At the very least, if you did not watch the video, you have to like and you have to subscribe and you have to leave a comment telling us what we got wrong. At the very least, you have to do that.
Yeah, I think like if I were to, I'm not gonna post this to Twitter, but if I was, like, both because you have to make the screenshot size reasonable, but also because you want to capture the meta and not the like Pokemon that aren't relevant, I would probably go down to B. Like B is like where I was thinking of, like, Pokemon that you are considering when building a team, and then if you're going below that, you're really cooking. So, yeah, I don't know. B, there's even some like there's only a couple of Pokemon in B that I really want. B plus is like the meta. Um, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. For what it's worth, I do think there are some Pokemon that we just skipped over that I think maybe could see play. But I wasn't gonna press the issue because we've already run way over time. But yeah, so if you but if, what leave a comment down below. Which Pokemon that we didn't tier do you see cutting a regional? How about that?
Cutting a regional, I like that. That's a good way. So like making top 8.
No, top 32. We got big cuts now.
Oh, you're right, right. Okay. With that said, though, yeah, it'll be on YouTube tomorrow, Adi.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Tomorrow morning.
So it'll be on YouTube tomorrow, guys, and yeah, I guess we could. I don't actually have time. I had coaching 30 minutes ago, and I asked them to delay, so I'm not gonna bother rating anybody. I'm just gonna hit end because I gotta go. So thanks guys for hanging. Thanks Adi for doing this with me, and you guys have a good night. Peace out.